So, are we good to play Detective Investigation Systems DC Batman Everybody Lies?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's get it going.
Did you leave this gargoyle out of that explanation?
Featuring gargoyles.
Well, we always know that everybody knows that Batman perches on gargoyles, and that every building in Gotham has plenty of gargoyles to perch upon.
So
And that some of those gargoyles come to life at night and team up with a female detective.
right. That's what they're known for.
Yeah.
Alright, so we have personal goals, although it's been too long, I don't remember where we were at for personal goals, so I'm not going to worry so much about that.
Okay.
But we've got the scene deck as well, if we need to pull things from there. Just as a quick overview, because it's been a minute, we played the prologue. Vicky Vale's friend from Gotham City Gazette, who was missing and then considered dead, returns back to life. The police claim the case is solved and the kidnapper is caught, but Vale thinks otherwise.
Vicky
And then we
Vale.
played Guilt. A young man has been sentenced for murder and imprisoned in Blackgate Penitentiary, but Jim Gordon is certain some details don't add up. He asks for your group to reinvestigate this fishy case. And then Nostalgia. Gotham City is having a hard time. A group of fanatics rises in power, swarms of bats are seen all around the city, and Jim Gordon is on the verge of suspension. If it wasn't bad enough, Batman is nowhere to be seen. So that's the one where Batman was kidnapped and they had the nostalgia drug going on where
Right.
people were hallucinating into seeing the old Gotham with they saw cars as buggies and whatnot. So I thought that was kind of cool. But if I remember right, we didn't pick what the story wanted us to pick. I think we voted to save Batman or something because he was tied up or something like that.
Right.
And they wanted us to stop the drug production place at the lighthouse or something to that effect. I didn't quite like the ending, but
Do you save Rachel or do you save Harvey Dent?
yeah, exactly.
Sounds like a thing that I've seen before.
And I can't remember if I was Harvey or if I was Warren.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think that we weren't doing too well because someone graded us F on these on our notes,
Wow.
previous notes.
I think I only played the prologue with you guys when we did this before.
Okay.
Yeah, I know we did a lot of this with
Because this
Kirk.
was
Yeah, he was Catwoman.
Yeah, I remember I was one of the guys. I just don't remember which guy.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I was Harvey Bullock.
So the one that we're going to play today is Remorse. It's the last of them. It's case number 3. There are 4 cases because the prologue is 0. So Remorse. A new unexplainable phenomenon starts to torment the forsaken Gotham City. While Batman tries to save as many citizens as possible, your investigative team attempts to explain the origins of the mysterious purple mold. And when I click that, choose your characters. So you're going with Harvey.
Yep.
Whoever we don't choose will still be an informant for us, but not.
Right.
I think I was Vicky. I'll go with
I
Vicky.
think they're on they're on the other side, the informant side.
Yeah, so I'll use Vicky, and then we'll choose one more. This is our case envelope. We won't need these, but yeah, I think we'll need some of the things from the trade.
I guess I'll just do Catwoman.
Okay. Cool.
So this,
Catwoman.
he is now on the informant. So.
Gotcha. Alright. Okay, cool. This is ready for us to start searching files. We've got the final report option. We'll see if it modifies, but otherwise, yeah, we should be starting at 0, and then we have until 16 to solve it.
Is it 16 every time,
medium.
or is it specific to the scenario?
It might adjust it based on the scenario,
Okay.
and if it adjusts it, it could adjust the end or the beginning, so we can
I
start
forget.
later.
Do we populate all these locations?
Yes, and they'll be on their colored side. Some of them, not all of them, I think like 4 of them are freebies. They're colored on both sides, active. Other ones like Arkham Asylum and the Batcave You have to spend something to activate it, and then it goes into the deactivated phase, and you have to spend something extra. So like they cost both times, but every other time that you go there, it costs a little bit extra.
Right.
The movement doesn't cost. It just we can use the blimp to keep track of what location we're on.
Okay.
And then it costs the leads. Leads are what cost.
Am I missing this location? Oh, yeah, like that, so,
No, these are all small pieces.
oh, okay.
8 sounds right. I don't know why the rule book might specify,
Where's
but
the
yeah,
rule book?
that's a good question. It might be in the box there.
Box lid.
So that has the 4 locations.
Yeah.
Oh, the other locations may not show up until we're gating leads about them.
Oh, right. All right. Place
So
the
I think
game
it's
board in the middle of the
about the
play
same.
area. Place this on the intro. Place City Hall, Gotham City Gazette, GCPD headquarters, and downtown locations. So that's the 4 around
Okay.
the outside. So the middle ones appear not to be.
Gotcha. Including that.
That's the bat signal over there. So I'm guessing it probably is actually reserved as the bat signal.
Okay.
Well, and of course, this is the setup right from the beginning, so there may be a different setup.
For our scenario.
This is Catwoman's beginning. This is the Warren's beginning.
It says there are 8 locations.
This is Harvey's.
Yeah, we had,
Yeah,
we had.
so that's the answer.
Okay, gotcha. So there is an extra blank. So we won't be reading this one. And then there's a global one to read. So that's what's going to kick ours off. But we get some separate information per character. So like you might have informants that are working with you
And we
as.
can put his away, right? So where's his?
Yeah, I put it
Oh,
there.
okay.
I'll read the global one, and then we can read our personal to see how much we want to share with each other. Location, Dixon Docks, April 21, 9:03 p.m. And we'll probably get some
Is this
something to
let your thing
that's something-
read it? Nice.
Yeah, well, no, it doesn't
Oh.
annotate it. It's
It's
something
just
else.
more, yeah.
We have to look up on the
Gotcha.
device for more stuff, yeah. All right, so April 21st. It's late when you all received the text message from Vicky Vale. So my backstory will probably tell where I got a little bit of this from.
Vicky Vale.
Well, all of you except for Catwoman. For her, Vale had to go through another process. Vale awaits everyone where you originally met Gordon nearly 6 months ago, in a dirty back alley behind an old dock pub. Spacey and Bullock arrive first. Bullock holds a special evening issue of the Gotham City Gazette in his hand. Forgot. Do we start with any resources, or is it just what we gain throughout?
I think we do, but I thought it was scenario
Maybe
based.
this tells, yeah. Okay, so I read your article, Vale, he says. Is that why you wanted us to meet, or did you just miss my handsome face? Read files at 994. So, what was it, 994? This is it's a copy of the Gotham City Gazette. So we can double check that. There's pictures. We can pass this around, but there's pictures, there's something regarding mold, which, based on the scenario, it sounds like there's going to be purple mold. Okay, yeah, so that's available if we want to read more. I'm sorry for what's happening to your colleagues, the forensic scientists, she says, changing the topic. The smile disappears from Bullock's face. Also, how's Gordon? She asks. Still on his temporary forced vacation. Commissioner Loeb still thinks he abused his power, but doesn't know what to do with him. Oh, am I late? Asks Catwoman, jumping down from the fire escape. I brought a friend. Hope you don't mind, she adds, stretching a tabby brushing against her legs. You mean the cat? Just keep it away from my coat, says Bullock. No, I mean him, she answers and points at the roof of the pub. You all turn to see a dark shape standing on metal planks against the moonlight. You're an unlikely team, but you've accomplished quite a lot, says Vicky. I'm sorry, I said, I skipped ahead. You're an unlikely team, but you've accomplished quite a lot, says Batman. Vicky, Bullock, and Spacey exchange confused looks. Great, I've always dreamed of becoming Batman's sidekick, says Spacey and sighs. Batman ignores his remark. I tried to stop it, but my methods have yet to be effective, he says. I need more information. Is there anything you can tell us? Asks Vale. Yes, the mold that is taking over contains faint traces of a hallucinogenic substance. It's not dangerous to humans, but it's similar to one found in Nostalgia. Not those freaks again, says Bullock. Harold Berenson rots in prison, and that stupid cult was put to an end. I know you're going to get involved, and I have more important things to do than babysit. I'm here to tell you to be careful. I won't be here to protect you, as I need to stay. Okay, that's typoed. You need to stay out of my way while I evacuate as many people as possible. Main goal: find out who's responsible for spreading the mold around the city. And we have a couple further leads. We can go to the GCPD headquarters, examine the evidence from the crime scene where the forensic scientists, technicians were killed, which I'll read the article. Go to the Iceberg Lounge and see what's going on there. 302 downtown. So the article, and there are a couple of pictures, so we can pass around if anybody wants to look for potential clues or anything in pictures. But it's a mold of unknown origin spreads throughout Gotham City. That looks like the main article, and there's one other. This is actually written by Vicky Vale. The purple mold that started appearing this morning in the Narrows, Old Gotham, and on the eastern shores of the city. Do we have
The Narrows.
Okay, gotcha.
Here. The eastern shore would be here.
Cool. It spread rapidly to other districts. The situation is getting worse hour by hour. The most intense outbreak appeared at the Iceberg Lounge. Many guests of the casino remain trapped inside. The mold may be dangerous to weaker constructions, acting like expanding foam. It has been advised to evacuate from the affected buildings as soon as possible and try not to remain too close to the mold. And that is it. The other article is 3 forensic scientists found dead at Gotham City Police Department. This is written by Ann Chang. On the night of April 20th and April 21st, the bodies of Paxton Jones, Lana Sage, and Samuel Ranford were found in the police lab. According to a police spokesperson, all 3 of them have been murdered. Moreover, the material evidence they were working on disappeared from the scene as well. For the sake of the investigation, the police have refused to reveal any more information. And there is a picture of the scientists, so we've got a little bit of flavor, I think. But okay, and then I guess that also kind of makes sense as to why we have the 2 leads where we can go to the police department if we want to start following
Right.
about the deaths versus
Go
the
look at
Iceberg
the
Lounge,
mold.
which has the biggest mold outbreak.
Okay.
I'm gonna read my quick informant and decide how much I want to share about that. Because they'll also, so at the end of this one, as a reminder, at least the previous cases, they have you do the final report, but then each character also gets to submit a question or something like that to see if they get their personal goal.
Oh, this is all part of this is still the same, right?
Probably, and it should.
Oh, no,
be
I'm reading.
Oh, is it the same? Okay, gotcha.
I was like, why is this exactly the
Then
same?
it's exactly the same.
Okay.
Okay, so I will summarize a little bit. So Harvey Bullock knew all three of the forensic scientists personally, and so their deaths are like actually personal to him. Like he actually, gives a shit,
Yeah.
which isn't always the case with Harvey Bullock, but it is today. Okay, so this part is probably a repetition of what you already read, but these three forensic scientists or colleagues were working late to examine the evidence collected in Norn's lab, nostalgia samples, the Norn's chemist notes, the organic substances used for the production of the serum, and much more. They were working on this at my request, which makes me feel partially guilty for their death. Coroner says they died around 2 a.m., cause of death, exsanguination via multiple GSW. So they bled out due to multiple gunshot wounds.
Gotcha.
It was so late that there were no or very few witnesses. Commissioner Loeb has ordered me to investigate the murders. He should have been more interested. He didn't show up to the lab. Some federal agents arrived in the city yesterday evening, and he's too busy with them to care about 3 dead technicians. You have to take care of it, or I have to take care of it myself. I'll find whoever's responsible. And I'll share my personal goal, because it's the same goal I think we all have, is find out who killed the forensic science technicians.
Okay, yeah. I'm very invested in trying to find out who is responsible for the mold, and they might be related, so hopefully our goals will align. One other piece of information that I seem to have received is that there's a rumor just about the Iceberg Lounge, which is one of our opening things.
Right.
Have you seen the Iceberg Lounge? It's covered in mold from the streets to the roof, and it's wrapped in vines. Has the Penguin botched a science experiment? But with vines, I'm thinking it could be
poison ivy.
exactly.
How do we
So
change this?
return it, and then we can search for a new file number. Oh, did you get a file in
I
yours?
did.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, switch characters. Okay.
For the one that I typed in before.
All right.
I did type
Is there a
mine.
way for us to all get in so that you could just be on the database?
I don't think so.
Because it says this was controlled by a different character. So, do you want to switch to Catwoman to search files pursuing for personal goals of this character?
Oh yeah, that should work.
I'll just
I don't
do
think
it.
that we can easily log in on multiple
That's
devices.
what. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like you're.
I think we just have to swap the hot seat sort of thing.
Yeah.
So with only the 2 further leads, I'm good with either one, but the.
All right, I'm
slightly
gonna
leaning towards
read
the
this stuff,
Iceberg.
and I need to figure out what's going on with the mold as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So you guys are tracking down the mold, and Harvey don't give a shit about the mold.
Right.
He cares about who killed his colleagues
Right.
that he, that we're doing as he instructed them to do, so he feels personally responsible for it.
Ooh, doing what he instructed.
Well,
were they working on any mold-related tasks?
Well, no, I read that. Yeah. Yeah, well, they were, working late, examining the evidence collected in Norn's lab, the nostalgia samples,
Mhm.
Norn's chemist notes, and all that kind of stuff, at my request.
Cool.
So they were working late because I told them they had
Since
to.
there does seem to be a overlap between the drugs and
Right,
the mold.
The mold has some traces of chemicals used by the
All right, this
nostalgia
just
samples.
says Oswald Cobblepot suspected of planning an attack on the Norns location together with a most unlikely ally, Carmine Falcone, has left GCPD's holding cell, according to Commissioner Globe, there was not enough evidence to link him to the attack. Carmine Falcone remains in prison. And then there's a addendum underneath that says, and that was written by Warren Spacey, who's that guy. Scarecrow is still on the loose. The dangerous criminal Jonathan Crane, also known as Scarecrow, hasn't been found. The police of Gotham City asked Gotham City citizens for information on the whereabouts. That's Amy Chang, but more on page 2, which this doesn't go to. And a generous gift for Gotham City by Roger Sanchez and Vicky Vale. How come you're not sharing this information with us? Anna Longette Hicks has recently donated most of her collection of various artifacts to Gotham City's founder and something I can't read because it's got covered up. And her late husband's investor, John.
Hammerschmidt?
Yeah, John Longer. John Jacob. Yes.
Right.
All right. So that's the information there. Switch back to general so people can move around.
So I moved our character tokens over here. It looks like that's something that we'll have to spend a clue on if we want to gain our character tokens, and that'll be for certain files if we
To get the, I think that's your
like
personal
extra information.
Yeah, I think it says in here that those are to help you on your personal goals.
Gotcha. And then the other thing is we each have an ability like Warren, who we're not playing, but he's an informant for us. If we spend 2 clues, we can get 1 Joker symbol.
Which is the underworld.
Oh, gotcha. And then
So the
Catwoman can get us Batman access. Harvey can get us police access. Vicky can unexhaust all the board tiles, so if they're getting expensive, we can flip them all to the unexhausted side.
Can we start with any clues?
Not that I saw.
Not that I see. The tokens are, just so you know, because in case it tells what it does, basically, and they're on the pictures, but it's the Authority, the Underworld, and Batman.
Gotcha. So that's how we access the...
It says each character may gain their own specific token at any time during the game. Character tokens are used to obtain access to personal goal cards throughout the game, which help you accomplish your personal goal.
Gotcha.
Each token belong to the character's player. They may be spent by the player controlling the character to gain access.
This is for Remorse,
So-
I'm just going to grab the deck.
Yeah, it basically says put the scene.
So Remorse deck. And we may reference the scene deck.
And it says that put the personal one somewhere, but I don't know.
I think that's also in here. Yeah, personal goals deck.
So we kind of have them just if we want to get to them.
Gotcha.
I don't.
Because I remember for the scene deck, I think they're like comic book art style, which is really cool. And they had some visual clues that helped us previously decide where we
lead
wanted
deck,
to go.
yeah. Okay.
All right. So our 2 further leads are GCPD or downtown. If we want to go to the Iceberg Lounge or examine the evidence from the crime scene where the forensic scientist or team was killed. I feel like we're going to eventually follow both.
Yeah. I feel like R2 kind of indicate going toward the iceberg.
Yeah.
Well, I would want to go investigate the crime scene of the death, but I'm outvoted.
Well, that's because you've told us
We can
what
start
your what your thing is.
And well, we kind of told each other too.
Well, he gave us the exact specifics.
Oh yeah.
I want to do good for a change.
Harvey is generally on the Batman side of things. Harvey now is 100% in the fold.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So downtown.
Yeah. We're going to the iceberg, or
Yeah, that's to. go to the Iceberg Lounge and see what's going on there,
Oh.
which is 302 downtown. There's no cost for this, and I'm going to double check, but I don't think any of the... Oh, this one, our first visit to GCPD is no additional cost, just the time.
Do you
which I'm
flip
sorry
it
for
or
that. This one I would flip, but this is literally the same on both sides,
Yeah.
so I guess I'll technically flip it. But just so we know, the
You
GCPD
flip it when you go there.
will flip,
Yeah.
and that will cost the police access to do it again. The Gazette is fine; it's free both sides. City Hall is free both sides.
All right, this is Spacey. He's not
doesn't-
there, so
yeah, he's
so theoretically
he's-
those people read that.
Right.
All right, it says game card 27, whatever that means.
That might be. I don't know if
Oh,
that's a scene.
And it has a picture of the
27 might
Joker.
be a scene.
Oh, it might be.
Oh yeah, yeah. It looks, I think that's a scene.
Yeah,
So 27.
27. You join a group of gaping onlookers who settle in front of the Iceberg Lounge. The police secure the crowd, not the ground, but you can sense tension between the GCPD officers and the Thorn agents who examine the place. The agency's scientists collect samples of the vines and mold that cover the casino. The Penguin, his people, and patrons of the Iceberg Lounge are trapped inside. You squeeze to the front of the crowd and try to interview someone, but the men in black suits and dark shades ignore all your questions. Your phone begins to ring. It is an unknown number, and you answer to hear the voice you've heard before. Spacey, you old vulture. Did you come to write another article about me? Penguin? You ask. How'd you know I was here? For you, it's Oswald Cobblepot. I see you on my last undamaged security camera. These Thorn thugs keep ignoring me. Why are they collecting samples? Tell them to let me out. I don't think it's that easy, you say, but the Penguin doesn't seem to hear what you have to say. And you, Spacey, go ahead. Write that this green witch Poison Ivy and her new lunatic friend Josephine Goodwin are destroying my city, starting with my beautiful lounge. Poison Ivy works with Josephine Goodwin. Are you deaf or what? Yes, Ivy appeared out of nowhere this morning and instigated this mayhem, screaming something about me and the Sickle Ink textile factory. Why would I deal with them? Their filthy wastewater reaches as far as my lounge. It is disgusting. I'm sure that shady councilwoman was whispering filthy lies into Ivy's ears. It doesn't look like Ivy's typical plants. You look at all the purple mold around the vines covering the lounge. Maybe she's sick. Who cares? I tell you, she's on a rampage. Tell those stooges to work faster. I want out of here. This stupid mushroom smells like Finn's filthy nostalgia. He's the only one that could. Something begins to interfere with the signal. More about, but first give. Punch from me, right? He should not rot in prison. Of the Norns. Must be this stupid fungus wall that's... Signal? The connection breaks completely. You try in vain to call back, but you can't. Gain one clue.
Okay.
Further leads. Ask your informant about Thorn. Ask Catwoman to check out what's going on at the Sickle Ink factory. Ask Vale to talk to Goodwin. Ask Bullock to find more information on Finn Harris.
Okay.
Where did Finn Harris come into it?
We said that name.
Did we? I never recall it.
Sickle Ink is in the Narrows, and if that might be where the epicenter was, that would be why that would be a good reason to go there.
Right.
The east side, as we were saying, it kind of like spread to the east, so that's where the Iceberg Lounge is, which has the biggest concentration at the moment.
Oh yeah, no, I don't see that. Oh yeah, it smells like Finn's filthy nostalgia.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
okay.
So the
he might be one of the
nostalgia.
gang leaders or something. The Norns are the ones who wanted to bring about going back to the old ways,
Right.
including by drug dealing.
Right. But apparently, and we probably knew this at some point, Finn Harris was the person behind the drug nostalgia, or one of the people behind it.
A key guy, apparently. Yeah. I
Okay.
don't recall at this point, but I zoomed in there.
It says Thorn.
Thorn, yeah. Which it is purple. I mean, I don't quite understand what the kind of cloudy molecule thing look is indicating, but
Hey, just so everybody knows, the trademark characters in all of that are Vicky Vale, Catwoman, Harvey Bullock, Poison Ivy, the Penguin, and Oswald Cobblepot. So Josephine Goodwin and Finn and
they're public
Thor
domain.
all seem to be to be
Okay.
part of this game.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So it's not IP
I gotcha.
to begin with. It's added.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna guess.
Narrows is there.
So in other words, you can't use your knowledge of Batman
Yeah, that's cool.
to solve nostalgia.
Yeah, that
But
makes
maybe
sense.
that is actually probably part of it. That sounds a very Batman.
Yeah, it does.
All right, so Spacey gets to
But-
make a decision.
Well, here's the thing: is you've got Penguin literally saying, Ivy appeared out of nowhere this morning and instigated this man screaming something to me about Sickle Ink textile factory, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we say, or Warren says, oh, it doesn't look like Ivy's typical plants.
They're giant vines, though.
But the thing is how do you ignore the Penguin saying that Ivy literally showed up? You know, he's not saying these vines showed up and I presume they're Ivies. He's literally saying Ivy appeared out of nowhere this morning and instigated this man.
Okay, gotcha.
So if he's saying his eyewitness account of Ivy being there, then maybe if we go to the and she's got an issue with Sickle Ink, maybe if we go to the Sickle Ink, we'll encounter Ivy, terrorizing the place and get her side of things. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also like the idea of asking the informant about Thorn, because if Thorn's got a badge that's color scheme wise
Right.
and motif wise,
yeah. It
purple
looks-
thorns, purple mold with thorny vines.
Yeah. That's suspicious.
Yeah, so I would lean towards one of the first two leads here.
Well, it was one of those Catwoman breaks into a place because
Cat-
I mean, thematically, I'd like to
her
break
Cat-
into.
yeah.
I'd like to break into
This
things.
is Catwoman go. That's the second one. Catwoman goes to check out what's going on at Sickle Ink Factory, right?
Okay.
So I'm good with that one, and that's downtown. I'm good with the one with the underground.
I actually was just kidding.
I'm good with anything, and we investigated the one that we wanted
Well,
to first. So
The other thing is, what about this good one? Is that one of them?
yes,
Yeah.
Vale can talk to Goodwin.
So
I'm just less interested about.
you're less interested in.
I mean, it might be a
the
decent
gov.
lead.
You're less interested in thinking the government is corrupt.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Because I feel like she's like a council person.
Yeah,
corrupt government is always an option. I'm just going to take that and use it for my personal golf. Just kidding. I feel like that's a Catwoman thing to do too.
No, I already spent it on my Harvey Bullock token.
I'm just going to steal it at some point.
So
is that how that works? You have to take one from the general
from
pool,
our supply, yeah.
and then when you turn your card.
You get
You
one
gain
gets
whatever.
you this, or two gets you one of these.
Right, but if you get one of those, you just turn it in for a personal clue, or to further your personal.
Well, if we gain these, we
No, the individual characters.
Yeah, you might run across an personal gold deck, and it says you need to spend one of these, and then you go, oh, well, there's a clue here, so I'll get it.
That's what I'm trying to find out is the mechanics of how that happens. Does it pop up, or you just use it at any time?
No, it pops up.
Okay.
So, the other lead is we could go to GCPD, or we examine the evidence from the crime scene where the forensic scientists were killed.
Yeah.
Thematically, Harvey Bullock would want to do that, but if we are wanting to chase down one line of inquiry at a time,
I'm good either way. It's our second
generally
lead.
okay with whatever you guys decide, but I know that we have been bit by these games
when we don't do the initial leads.
By going this way, and then it's so far in that we don't want to go back to the beginning.
Right.
So there's a part of me that says, well, if we do this, it opens up all the branches.
Right.
And then we can start cherry picking branches.
Yeah,
but that's a little more meta.
So let's do but we can only go to, the problem is with the GCPDs, once we go here, it flips and then we can't come back.
Can't come back until we get more clues.
Right.
We will have enough clues to do it.
Well, and I can spend one clue, so I could right now, I can unexhaust all board tiles, so she might be cheaper for certain of them. Others will still need to trade in more anyways, but yeah, hers might be a little cheaper than your token.
Okay.
But I think that yours, I think your police is also, Blackgate Penitentiary, that always requires the police access, so that might be what we save that for. Arkham Asylum and Batcave are both the ones that require Batman symbols, so those, we might have to choose one or two.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you guys are fine with it, then I would vote for 301 to get the details of the technicians.
That sounds good.
See how that connects to.
That's what I would say, because I feel like it's gonna.
That sounds good to me. So that is this
Remorse.
one. 301. And there are 2 files to read, and that is Bullock.
And that moves us forward one? Is that the deal?
Yes. Ugh. And it flips the GCPD, so if we want to go here again, we'll have to spend a police token or, like we were saying, refresh it. And when you need the files.
Okay, so we're gonna gain card 28.
28.
There are flowers and candles in front of the door. Only you and a few technicians have permission to be in the lab. They've checked everywhere but found nothing that could lead you to the people caught in the distorted security camera footage. The case files are not too elaborate either.
Yeah, it is.
So we've got read files 301A and 301B. You rewind and watch the footage over and over again. Who the hell are they? The man looks familiar, but you have no idea where you remember him from.
We've got security cam footage.
Well, I see who's been killed.
Officer Maggie Sawyer walks into the lab with tight lips, dark circles under her eyes, and a stack of files in her arms. You have anything new yet? She asked harshly. 15 minutes ago, you told me you were going out to join the investigation of that weird plague, I remarked. What happened? Apparently, the feds told us to stay away from the mold outburst. They say it's a case for Thorn now. They're pushing around Gotham City like it's theirs. They listen to no one. They've also delegated half the police force to calm the citizens and control the traffic. We're their errand boys now. Her phone beeps. It's Marcus Redding again, she sighs. Thorne's boss. She answers the phone. Yeah, what is it? A few seconds later, her voice goes red, but she answers calmly. Understood. What is it, I ask. Students have organized protests at the university. They don't like that Thorne took over their laboratories. Redding wants me to send some people to break up the crowd because they don't have time for things like that. Gonna have at least one piece of good news today? Here's one. Remember that textile factory in the Narrows, Sickle Inc.? At 9 a.m., we caught Scarecrow sneaking around there. We sent him straight to Blackgate. Jonathan Crane? I asked. The freak you've been looking for since November, responsible for those strange deaths in the sewers? What was he doing near the factory? I don't know. But the factory was one of the initial outbreaks of the mold. Crane's new lab was also located in Narrows. He must have something to do with that. He won't talk, but you know how to convince people like him to cooperate, don't you? She winks and leaves the lab. So we gain a clue, and our further leads from here is we could go to Blackgate to interrogate Scarecrow.
Okay. What number is that?
310. We can ask Vale to learn more about Marcus Redding, the leader of Thorne. That's 318 at Gotham City Gazette, which doesn't really cost us anything other than time, but not necessarily what we want to do.
But that's another way to investigate Thorne, so we can either do Underground or the Gazette.
Ask Spacey to hang around Thorne's lab, 303 downtown. Or ask Catwoman to examine Scarecrow's lab, 306 Underground.
So there's one more file that I have to go to. But if you want to look at the camera footage,
Yeah.
What's surprising me is why they're like looking up at the camera.
Yeah, she points at the camera.
Yeah.
So, who do you think was murdered?
Well, I think all three of them were, right? Like,
they were
based
all
on
murdered.
based on the article.
Yeah.
They all
The
three
three
were killed.
Like that might be
The
his
three,
outline.
That's
the
him.
three
Yeah.
forensic investigators were murdered. Yeah.
Unless, I mean, they are wearing
Yeah, no.
goggles and stuff too.
Yeah.
It could be that like maybe one of them was the murderer and there's a body, a third corpse. or
Nah, they're all
something.
dead. I just missed paying attention.
It's interesting that they're
Here's
talking about Scarecrow's lab, like
right.
so we might find out about poison ivy and or Scarecrow if we go to the textiles.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The textile is in the Narrows.
Yeah,
His lab is
It's
in the Narrows.
like the epicenter of.
The name of the name of it is Sickle, which indicates some kind of disease.
And how do we get to the Narrows? Is that just go?
We'd have to follow one of the leads. It's not quite like consulting detective. We don't look it up here. It's just this is information.
Yeah.
But we can only go there based on the cards.
Yeah,
You'll get relationship.
Yeah, but what is the location of the?
This one actually doesn't have a lead to go there. It's Sickle Inc. 319 downtown Sickle. Ask Catwoman to check out what's going on at the Sickle Inc. factory.
Downtown. So it's something we could do at downtown.
Yes. Gotcha.
So if we had been more efficient, we could have done that before going to GCPD and not lose time, right? Because
we lose time.
For every lead,
yeah.
Not just for every transition. Oh.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the blimp is more just for fun. It doesn't affect our travel time. Yeah, it would be nice if we could be more efficient. And then when you're ready, you could also look at the file 301B.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Gotcha. And we've got Thorne's lab and we've got Scarecrow's lab. Both of those are interesting too. Like, we've got 3 ways to look into Thorne. between the three ways, I feel like the Thorns lab might be the more interesting of the three.
Okay, so here's we know the three people who, three forensic science technicians who died. Their time of death is all listed as 2 a.m. Although I think maybe a couple of them were probably died maybe 30 seconds to a minute apart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But broad stroke 2 a.m. for all three.
Right.
In the moments before their death, they were examining evidence collected in the Norns lab at Crest Hill Lighthouse at the request of Detective Harvey Bullock. No fingerprints were collected at the crime scene, but here's some evidence material that went missing from the crime scene after the murders. So, after the murders, here's the evidence that was discovered to have been missing from the crime scene, okay? Lab journals collected at Crest Hill.
Sorry, I'm writing down the previous files. I'm going to start making notes of what our files indicate.
Okay, so we've got lab journals. By Finn, or by Harris, I'll say. Whereabouts unknown. Okay. Pieces of laboratory equipment. So lab equipment.
And for organization purposes, maybe we can keep like exhausted ones, because now we've followed both of these. Maybe we can keep that separate.
Yep.
And we have active leads here, which I'm still writing down. But
So then we've got vials with chemical substances collected at Crest Hill Lighthouse, including 2 probes containing mushrooms used to produce the nostalgia syrup. So I don't know if you know this, but there's sometimes a connection or a relationship between mushrooms and mold.
Right. Yeah. I would think so. Yeah.
So vials with chems and shrooms. Also, AKA Don's idea of a good time.
Yeah.
The party.
You mean Catwoman's idea?
Yeah.
Chemicals and shrooms, man. So those are what was missing. So that kind of paints the picture that, because it's the lab journals with the notes, the lab equipment, and the vials of chemicals and shrooms, that this stuff was all, those technicians were killed just so that this stuff could be taken, which then led to the development of this mold.
Yeah, that would make sense. So
Who are the Norns?
in the previous episode, they are
I went out
gang.
there. You can
Gotcha.
yourself.
They're the gang that was. I think that they were both manufacturing and pushing the drug, and it was the one that would make people hallucinate as if it were old-timey Gotham. And they wanted. They were also a cult that wanted to bring about the destruction
were
of
they
current
manufacturing
technology.
the drugs, or were they just distributing them? I thought they were just taking advantage of the fact that the drugs existed.
So
That may be as well. I can't remember if they were the manufacturer and distributors.
I think there were. If I could be misremembering, but my recollection was that you had one set of parties who were just making these drugs for the purposes of making drugs, which is
Profit.
Profit.
Gotcha.
People have these highs, but the highs consist of some sort of like nostalgic experience. But then you have the Norns who idolize a past version of Gotham,
Right.
And so then jump on the bandwagon, or like, we want everyone to be exposed to this drug, that now exists, so that we can resurrect so and so and bring about old Gotham.
So it appears that because it was in the one thing, and some of it's in here, and like putting them together. So Falcone and Penguin went and robbed the Norns, and then Penguin was released according to that article that I read, and Falcone's still in jail.
I think
Falcone-
I think they were against the
Norns.
the Norns and the drugs because it destabilized their
Right.
base of
It was
power.
cutting
Yes.
into their, yeah.
But so they went there and like robbed them is how they got put in jail. Penguin took the stuff back to the Iceberg Lounge.
Okay.
And so the question that I have is, the Norns loot have anything to do with, if that's where like the mold is being concentrated,
Right.
is something that they
Was it
stole?
like a booby trap?
Because
or
you were
something
listing a
gone
whole
wrong?
bunch of things that were stolen.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think it's for the production of the mold.
It's the evidence that they were looking into,
Right.
the team that was
So then,
murdered.
do these people have anything connected to this Norns like battle?
Well, so we've got Harris, whereabouts unknown. So Finn Harris.
Right.
Yeah.
And investigating Finn Harris with 311.
So they might be
That would be looking.
they
for
might
more
be
information
agents
about
of
him.
Finn Harris, or the man in the video might be Finn Harris,
Right.
recovering this stuff and then making a retaliatory strike against Penguin for his involvement in
Right. So
in
then,
bringing down the
here's what
Norns.
I think is going on. So this stuff that's at the lab is evidence collected from the Norns lab.
Yes.
So that's these things. The Penguin and Falcone break in and steal stuff that is either tainted with or containing the start of the mold infection. Because he takes something different than this list
Right.
back
Yeah.
to his lounge.
Yeah.
And so that's why it started. So it may not be these things, but something that Harvey didn't pick up at the Norns, because Falcone got there first,
Okay.
is what went to.
Well,
Penguin.
and there are two concentrations of the mold. One concentration is Iceberg Lounge. The other is the sickle
The textiles.
Yeah.
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
ink.
So where is the Norns lab?
It was the
Crest Hill.
lighthouse. And,
The lighthouse at
right.
Crest Hill?
Yeah,
and
Crest Hill.
that's what we raided in the last
Okay.
episode.
All right. So then that's what happened is, and were Falcone and Penguin involved in that story?
I,
That you
I
remember?
don't recall their involvement, but
Yeah.
but it, likely.
They definitely struck against the Norns, but they weren't teamed up with us in the raid that we did. So
Right.
the raid
yeah,
we
sure,
did,
Sure. Because they're
I think, came after the strike by Penguin and Falcone.
Yeah.
So to your point, Penguin and Falcone, they could have gotten away with samples of the drugs, and what was left is just the stuff used to make the drugs rather than the drugs themselves.
right.
Um,
Well, I mean, I know that that Falcone says this is what we stole.
Okay.
Because Falcone wrote her a letter,
Okay.
oh, okay.
right, saying that blame the Penguin, not me, because Falcone says her father,
Gotcha.
and so the thing is that she's mad that he had to write the article about Penguin getting out, but not her father getting out.
Okay.
And then the father's like, "Hey, I didn't do it. The Penguin did it."
Yeah.
And he's got the evidence for how it started,
Oh.
yeah.
but he doesn't say it's how it started. He's got the stuff. So then I made the conclusion
Yeah.
that that's what happened, because he's telling her where Penguin took everything.
Gotcha.
So I would follow, like you say, that sickle.
Ink, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
If that's
Yeah.
where
Where Penguin took the
things
shit.
went, or if
And-
we don't
and
have
we-
an option
and
to
we
go
might
back
have
to anything.
some
So-
scarecrow information there. We might have some
Yeah.
poison ivy information there.
So I'm very interested in like this Norn's track that is part of this evidence that Bullock has found.
And I'm still kind of interested in about why they were looking at the camera before
Right.
they were ambushed. To me, that seems more like a poison ivy potential.
Could be a man
Like-
bat.
It could be. We had indications that he was. Oh, you were with us in.
Yeah,
the
that was
episode.
where that
Yeah,
was the one
because-
at the prologue.
and it ended up just being the like Batman had a sonic like
Right.
bat controller
Yeah.
sort of thing, so it wasn't even man.
Here
Did,
is
what? Did you have a sonic screwdriver?
Basically,
oh, no,
sonic
that's
screwdriver.
something else.
Here is the thing: is I think sometimes the drugs are like there's multiple tracks here. There's drugs, there's Crane's drugs, and then there's
Right.
this nostalgia. So all of it is creating red herrings as well.
Right, and between the three Thorn ways, like we can look into the underground, we can look into the leader of Thorn at the Gazette, or we could look into their lab. I think the Thorn's lab would be the one. If we start looking into Thorn, that would be the one that I'm most interested in. Do you want to pick our next lead though? Because we can kind of alternate. Because we went where I mean we kind of voted on the first one, but it's also what I wanted to do. And then Michael got the second one. We could.
Well,
we could do
Michael,
kind
you're
of
leaning
alternating.
towards Sickle Ink textiles, and I kind of was. I think
That sounds
might
awesome.
be the thing.
So that would be 319, right? Unless there's a better one. Ask Catwoman to check out what's going down at the Sickle Ink factory.
Oh, I definitely like that because Catwoman is going to break in.
yeah.
I like a good break in. Why can't I just break into the freaking iceberg lounge in and out?
Right.
A little.
That is downtown. So we can go back to downtown. Flips technically, but there's no difference. 319.
And that's another hour.
That is an hour.
Catwoman, downtown. When you arrive at the factory, it looks as bad as the iceberg lounge, maybe even worse. It is covered in mold and vines.
Okay. Vines as well.
That means poison ivy was here too. You climb the vines to the only available window in sight and climb in. Several office workers run around the floor trying to save as many files and documents as they can carry. The office of Jeff Sickle, the factory's boss, is locked.
Jeff Sickle.
You pick it and enter. There is a thin layer of dust on the furniture. He's been gone for a minute. A framed photo from the office party with a caption on it sits on the desk. December, celebrating Josephine Goodwin's resignation from the city council. Finally. There is a handwritten note. Katie, tell the PR team to release a statement about our safety measures to shut these protesters up. We'll double our production. I don't care what that mob has to say. If they don't like the smell of our dyes, they should move to another district. Also, remind them how many jobs we've brought to the Narrows. Suddenly, you hear noises outside. You leave the building the same way you came in and see none other than the Killer Croc himself, causing mayhem down below. He pulls out the pipes, destroys machinery, and throws its pieces into the stinking river, polluted by the factory's wastewater. He is accompanied by a few teenagers who cheer for him. Yeah, you go, Croc, they scream. Free the district. Down with Sickle. Game card 25. You jump down and land near the Croc, but far enough away to flee if he decides to toss you into the water too. Are you having fun? You ask, dodging a metal plank he throws at you. Shut up, cat. I had to abandon my lair because the police started to look for that stupid scarecrow nearby. Now my new lair is full of mold. It smells worse than me. You think the factory caused all this, you ask? What else? It's polluted the city for years. The wastewater flows through the sewers everywhere in the city. Even the penguins had enough. So, You know the way back in, or you know the way into the Iceberg Lounge through the sewers by chance, you ask indifferently? Too many questions. Shut up, Cat. I just want to end what Ivy started and wreck this place. Yeah, wreck this place, shout the teenagers. Destruction. Mayhem. I wonder what these guys have to say about your plans.
Mayhem.
Yeah. I wonder what these guys have to say about your plans, you say, pointing at the caravan of black vans driving toward the factory. You better run, Croc. Gain 1 clue.
Cool.
Alright, further leads. See if the sewers from the factory lead to the Iceberg Lounge. That is 315 Underground. Ask Vicky Vale to find more information about Goodwin's conflict with the factory.
Of these two, they're not necessarily my highest priority of all, but of these two, I'd be more interested in the sewer connection.
Me too.
But the
What's the number of the other one?
Yeah, if we could somehow get something that's at the start of one of these things, other than Ivy.
Yeah.
well, here's the thing: is what I'm gleaning from this is that the mold and the vines are not from the same source. The mold is
Right.
our bad guys
Yeah.
and our killers. The vines are from Ivy, who is in opposition to this group.
Yes.
Kind of like
So she's
Croc.
attacking. So wherever
She's an
wherever the
eco-terrorist.
mold is
Yeah.
taking over, she's attacking that establishment with her vines.
right.
Right.
Whether she's like breaking, like, I don't know if there's a cause and effect. Like, I don't know if the mold is already breaking free and she's then causing the vines, or if maybe her vines are breaking canisters that release mold or something.
Yeah, it feels
I
like,
think she's in opposition to
Yes.
the mold.
and I feel like that often is a kind of a situation with these kind of villains, is they are trying to stop something that's
Their
sort of
focus.
good,
Yeah.
but they're doing it, it's like the
In a twisted
Kingpin
way.
wants to save the city, not destroy the city.
Right.
But the only way you can save the city is destroy part of the city.
Right.
And
Ra's al Ghul, same thing.
and like all of these, same thing with Croc, is he's like destroying this because he just wants to be left alone down in the sewer.
Right, and then Penguin doesn't want to destroy the city. He just wants his portion of control.
Yeah, right. But I would go for
I like
we
that.
we created several patterns. Now take a tinge, and then we can go back to a halfway point on the
Have
tree.
we taken all our hours?
So far, yeah. This is what we received. I don't see any clues.
I
It
don't
looks
see
like just
clues
flavor,
here.
but
It
yeah.
sounds like there's Catwoman up there.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up.
I mean, I realize that there is a Catwoman examines Scarecrow's lab, right?
Right. I'm not as interested in that one, but
There's also, we could go to Blackgate and interrogate Scarecrow.
I
How are we
don't-
going to get useful information out of him?
I just don't know that Scarecrow's on my radar right now either.
right.
Like the mold is.
And the
is
fact
on
that
The,
my-
the mold is like nostalgia. He had an involvement in nostalgia because they took his hallucinogenic compounds and repurposed them
Into
to
a
create
drug.
into the nostalgia drug. That was his connection there. It was oblique a
Mhm.
bit, but I don't know that he's directly involved in this mold, which has a different
Right.
characteristic.
Right.
See, my kind of like just meta of this is we've created like, this sort of situation, right? We have these different branches,
Mm-hmm.
and now what we're doing is trying to figure out, do we now go down one of those roads to see, because this one only has 2 branches,
Right.
where everything else has 4. So it feels to me like if we go here, we can figure this out, and then can go back to this decision or that decision, rather than keep
Right.
pinging all over the place now that we've got the majority of the roads visited. Visible.
No, I agree. I'm just looking at, our available leads, and I'm thinking, like, I'm not super interested in Goodwin. I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like she was trying to stop something.
I might be interested in more information on Finn Harris, because I do think he is his equipment and his notes and his whereabouts are unknown, but his equipment and his notes, I think, are connected to the production of the mold. So that's a possible, but that's going back to the GCPD, which I don't necessarily want to do. But I don't know. I don't know if we should be interested in Thorn, or if they're just some federal agency
I
that's
think.
just cock blocking us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like maybe later down the road they might be
And-
something, and I feel the same way
I'd be
with the
mostly
North.
interested in the lab because they might have some info about
Right.
the.
This is kind of what I personally, unless something changes, like I would go to see if we can get into the iceberg,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because we might get, okay, here are the things you're looking for. Now take that information back to that lab and
Yeah.
investigate that lab to see, or that stuff matches up with some of this stuff.
Or, I mean, at the very least, if the sewers provide some sort of entry into the iceberg lounge,
Right.
then we can get maybe get an up close examination.
Right, that's what I'm
of
saying.
the shit.
So
Yeah.
once we know what
and
that
talk
stuff
to
is,
Penguin and get his account and stuff.
and if that
Yeah.
stuff gives us information, then what we can do is we can say, oh, that's more originated with Finn, or it's more originated with Thorn, or it's
Yeah.
more originated with.
Scarecrow. Or
That's my thought.
Yeah. Yeah, and there might be other pathways in the sewer if
Yeah.
there is a way to connect the two buildings.
Eh,
Is there a mold issue down there? And
If
is
it
there-
feels like a wild goose
Did
chase,
the mold spread from? Did the mold start sickle? Which
Right.
We've read stuff that indicates that maybe started at sickle,
Mhm.
because that's where Penguin stored shit.
Right.
To Don's point, like stored shit at sickle.
well, we have a problem.
If the
here.
mold starts at sickle, spread through the sewers to the iceberg, and now the iceberg is now taken over. If that's the vector, right?
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we have a problem here.
Well, we can put it out since it's been referenced.
Well,
actually,
we would
for,
have to.
the underground.
We would have to
right?
get access to it.
We have to spend 2 clues to get a Joker token. We have to
Gotcha.
spend 2 of these to get access to them.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. We have 2 other undergrounds at the moment, though, so that's
Yeah.
something that would factor
Yeah.
more into our decision, I guess.
We'd want
but
to do
I like
all of that stuff before we leave, right?
No, it's
No,
it's
we-
not.
each
That's not
time.
how this
It's
works.
Each time.
Okay.
It's just
Even if you're in the underground,
It flips.
reactivates
flips
each
and
time.
flips. You have to-
The 3 underground options are see if there's a connection in the sewers, which I'm definitely leaning towards as well. We can look at Thorn is what I wrote down. Scarecrow's lab is the other underground,
Just
and
not
ask your
as
informant
interesting.
about Thorn, and that's pretty basic sounding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd be up for.
I think the sewers is a more direct.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do that.
Cool.
Let's go.
So spend 2 clues to effectively turn in that.
Yeah.
So we spend 2 clues to our informant, Warren Spacey, who gets us a Joker token. And with the Joker token, we unload. We go to the underground, spending a Joker token, and then this flips. And now we would need a Joker token and a clue.
So 315 is what we're getting from that.
And I spend this remaining clue on my Harvey Dent token in case I need it.
Oh, it's a Catwoman
Oh, it's a
thing.
Catwoman thing. All right. Hey, you wouldn't understand it. It's a Catwoman thing. There's a
Yeah,
26 in
that's-
here, by the way.
26.
All right. You put on the gas mask. You grab from the factory's changing room and find the cleanest looking drain a few streets away from the iceberg lounge. You almost back off when you look down. but then remember what awaits you. Some things require a bit of sacrifice. You jump into the drain. The sewer walls are covered in purple mold. It seems that dark and humid tunnels provide the perfect environment for it to flourish and spread and sprout from various drains throughout the whole city. After a few minutes,
Actually, I'll tell you.
yeah, thanks. After a few minutes of exploring the sewers, it seems you found the underground entrance to the iceberg. Unfortunately, you don't think you can gain access to it through it. Yeah. Just then, you hear something unnerving. Is that braying? Directly beneath the iceberg lounge, you see the source of the sound.
It's gonna be penguins.
The waddle of African penguins carrying ping cameras seem to be as confused and disappointed as you, unable to get back home. You look one of them in the eyes and say, "Tell your boss that I'll get what's mine sooner or later." The penguin answers with a strange honking noise that sounds almost like a donkey. Gain 1.
One clue.
Yeah. So that wasn't anything.
We didn't
You
get
know,
that
for the
lead?
leads.
Yeah, no.
Aw.
That's, I think, her clue. I think that's her part of her journey, is what that is then.
Well, that's a shame. I was
Because she's
really
like
hopeful about that.
wanting
Me too. Yeah.
She's wanting to get what's hers.
Now we can't afford to do it another underground at the moment.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Alright, so that's 4.
So this is exhausting. These have no further.
Gotcha.
I really thought that was.
I thought it would at least get us in or get us
Yeah.
a thing.
Yeah. Downtown Thorn's lab. I'd be a little interested in that one still. That would be ask Spacey to hang around Thorn's lab, so I guess it's more of a casing sort of situation, not,
I'd be more-
not a breaking an entry sort of situation.
I'd be more, although it would be expensive, I may be a little more interested in Ben Harris. That's at GCPD, so we've got to spend 2 clues, so maybe not right now. We need more clues. What can we do at the Gotham City Gazette? Is that just Thorn?
Yeah, Marcus Redding, the leader of Thorn.
Okay. And nothing at City Hall, right? Or is City Hall, Goodwin, that I don't care about?
Yes.
Okay.
Alright, so here's the thing. We've gone down the Sickle branch. So is
No.
there a whole new branch that you want to start?
The only thing left on the Sickle branch is Goodwin.
Right. So here's the thing. The guy at Sickle says is celebrating her retirement. They say the Penguin says Ivy shows up with Goodwin. And then all this starts happening.
Well,
But
says
to your
Ivy,
point-
it says Ivy shows up and he presumes she's in collusion.
Well, but here's
Right.
but here's the thing. To your point, is there's 2 separate things going on, and they're one causes the other. The vines are not the root of the cause. They are trying to stop the
Right.
problem. So if Goodwin is in collusion with Ivy, she's in collusion to stop the Sickle
Right.
poisoning and stop. So
Right.
she, in this case, has altruistic advances
That's
like Ivy in this situation.
Right.
So I don't know that helps us.
Right.
We can talk to Goodwin,
Well, I think
Yeah, I
or
just,
attempt to.
yeah.
I feel like for the hour that it takes, at this point, it may not.
We might need to just, we might need, you know what we might need to do?
Call Batman. I can do that.
Where's the Thorn Lab? That's not underground again, is it?
It is not. Downtown.
If we do Thorn Lab, is that Catwoman can go do shit at Thorn Lab?
No, it's asked Spacey to hang around Thorn's lab, so it might not even be entering it, it might be casing it. But I would hope that we could
It is one of our
see what's
free
inside.
things.
Right.
My only hope for that would be that I would want some sort of like chemical analysis or some clue from the mold itself. And so if Thorn Lab has already analyzed the mold,
Right.
we can
Yeah.
get their
See,
results.
That's what I thought we were doing before, is finding what to compare that to. But
Yeah.
that would have been, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I'd be down for a Thorn lab because that might help us with the chemical analysis and or give us the motivations of Thorn.
Right.
And we have like 3 ways to approach Thorn at the moment.
Okay. Downtown?
Mm-hmm.
Downtown.
That was 303. Spacey. You squeeze through the protesting students in front of Gotham City. I still love. Do your students like start chanting mayhem? Everyone's like
A lot of times.
Yeah, you have to calm them down.
Sometimes they'll just get upset and they'll be like, anger,
Right.
boredom.
I thought you were going to say apathy.
Yeah.
I don't care. Good, you're in.
Yay!
You're out.
Yeah. Great Futurama segment there.
It's literally one of the smartest things ever written.
I still love, like, my favorite bit in Futurama is when he's trying to push the button and he oops, just so basic and funny, just misses the button. You squeeze through protesting students in front of Gotham City University in the Upper West Side, and you're stopped by a police officer. No entry, get out of here. Thorne's orders, he says. You sense disgust in this last sentence, wave a few papers in front of his face, and say, important documents for Marcus Redding. All right, says the cop, and lets you in the courtyard. Maybe if he looked closer, he would recognize that the papers had nothing to do with secret government documents. You pass by several agents, guards, and scientists in the courtyard. The closer you are to the building, the more drops of sweat sprout on your forehead. You start wondering if it was indeed a good idea. You almost bump into a woman in a white lab coat and a young man trying to keep up with her. They head towards the parking lot, but someone calls out to her from one of the windows of the main building. Hey doctor, there's a problem with Ivy, come quick. Interesting. Be right there, she answers and turns to the man following her. All right, Jim, I don't think I'll need you anymore. She enters the main building and everyone gets out of her way. You follow her, maybe if you catch a few words. Hey you, says the guard as they stop you at the door. ID. The thing is, you say, scratching your head, let me guess, another professor who's angry that we took over his playground? We've told you that you can return to the labs after we're done here. Get out. Game card 30. He grabs you by the arm and leads you towards the parking lot where several people in hazmat suits are packing something into a van. You're pretty sure it's not something that would come from an unfunded university lab. One of them gets behind the wheel and says to others, all right, see you at Iceberg Lounge. The guard kicks you out through the gate and returns to his post. As you turn, you see the young man who was accompanying the doctor walking down the street earlier. He's hailing a cab. Canny Cat in Old Gotham, he says, and gets in. We gain one clue. We also have the further lead. Follow the man named Jim, 309 Underground.
Who wants to use their phone magnifier?
I can't remember.
What do you want to know?
What the guy is holding?
It's just a machine.
Hmm?
It's just a machine.
No.
Ask Catwoman to see
The guy holding.
what's going on.
Oh.
What's this?
It's a Gotham map with a couple locations on it, and the locations are the Narrows and the Iceberg Lounge, and a little bit on the western side is red, but the
Mhm. One of these days, they're going to give us a visual clue.
Yeah, exactly. So did they load up Did they load up Ivy, or is Ivy still there?
no, she's still there.
And also now I'm wondering if maybe Ivy could be accidentally causing the mold or something. If she's infected, maybe her vines are somewhat related to like vine rot or something. Like
So the idea there being that she's attacking
maybe the textiles
the
for
she,
other
she,
reasons.
she's attacking Sickle Inc. and the Iceberg Lounge,
Mhm.
like Penguin said she did,
right.
but her vines are infected and therefore
I'm
spreading
wondering
a
if they-
mold that she
That's
doesn't
what
intend it
I'm
for
now
them to
wondering,
spread.
because it seems like Thorne might be working with her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do like those X's.
So
That's
there's like
interesting.
major red here,
Which-
major red here,
Which we've already investigated.
and
both
then there's a
those.
little red like
Yeah.
here,
I think that's a great
here.
clue.
out on this island. What's 4?
Yeah, I think that's
That-
a great clue.
Blackgate.
Blackgate Penitentiary where
We
Scarecrow
can
is.
go there.
This could be the 2 bridges, actually.
Yeah.
And then there's a tiny one over here, which is probably in the
City Hall.
city hall, not the docks.
Yeah. Okay.
And also up here at the top, I don't think it's going to be Amusement Mile. It could be 25 is the train station. Doesn't look like it's Crest Hill, but it could be.
Well, City Hall would be where
But-
Goodman is.
It could also be Bridge.
Okay.
That's interesting. I think that's a cool
Because
clue.
these little dots are all at where bridges connect.
Yeah.
That might be
And then
a quarantine plan?
Here and here. Yeah.
That could be.
Well, but it's red like this is red. Like these 2 big spaces are red.
Well,
and these are
but it could
smaller.
be, even if it's a quarantine plan, that might be
You'd
where
be
they have to
like-
deploy
like-
people.
Yeah,
They just
we
use
report
quarantine site, the outbreak
attack
sites.
these 2 sites and
Plus the-
destroy the bridges in and out.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, they use the same pen for all the notes.
Right.
If they would learn anything, it's
Well, I think it's just maybe potential attack sites, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it might be the same node. It's just attack these 2 sites and attack the bridges.
Yeah. I'm very intrigued by this one. I don't want to spend a resource on it, like I don't know ever. But ask Catwoman to see what's going on in the Iceberg Lounge. Like, what would we actually gain by that? It's a different card,
Yeah.
but we've already been to the Iceberg Lounge. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand what we would get from that.
So,
Like, we've tried 2 ways into the Iceberg Lounge already.
all right,
I
can
think
I
it's dead end.
see that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be a different version of a dead end because it's approaching it after talking to them. But I don't know if it could be like a little like later in the story or something. If we're following like the cab. Oh wait, no, not the cab. They were talking about bring the equipment or whatever to Iceberg Lounge. So I don't know if that could follow and be more involved with Thorne's equipment at that point.
Hey, doctor, there's a problem with Ivy. Come quick. That almost sounds like, especially with Thorne being the name,
Mm-hmm.
that maybe they're trying to weaponize Ivy,
Ivy.
like
Mhm.
keep her captive and weaponize her abilities.
I could see that. Yeah, that's a good. I like
You know,
that.
sort of like,
They-
Amanda Waller style. You know,
Yeah, because they're feds. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that.
um,
Yeah, and maybe they were like I'm still kind of on the path at the moment that I think that Ivy might be infected, but maybe they're infecting her, or maybe that's part of their either trying to harness her powers or boost her powers or something.
or if she's infected, maybe they've captured her to try to examine her infection,
right,
or whatever. But I do think it's possible that they're like trying to weaponize her. So we might need to learn more about Thorn just to figure out what kind of intentions the organization has. If we're not clear that they're on the good side.
Right.
Or, I say on the good side. I mean on our side.
Yeah.
They probably think they're on the good side, but what we would deem the good side.
Blackgate's an option from
Right.
earlier.
Um,
Right now, our only Blackgate one is Scarecrow, which I'm not as interested
yeah,
in.
exactly.
But because of the X, now I'm more interested in going to Blackgate. Although
But
it'll
is it-
be,
But is that X really? See,
it could be the bridge.
right. The thing is,
There's no bridge in Blackgate.
no, but it is dot. There's a dot.
I
Right?
guess it could be a ferry or something. Like it could be a route, maybe.
Yeah. Isn't
I think they're just minor outbreaks. I think that's what it is, that they are minor.
Well, if it's a minor outbreak, I'd be interested in checking it out. See if there's another perspective. See what it looks like when it's smaller. see
This
if there's
stuff is
still
at
lines.
GCPD.
well, that's
That was
the
stolen.
stuff that was stolen from the from the
Right, but it started. It was in GCPD.
yeah.
Mhm.
So if that stuff was tainted, those mushrooms, like you say,
Mhm.
then that could account for the tiny red dot. No, it's not at GCPD. It's at the district hall.
Penitentiary.
It's at district hall.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. City.
White one, yes, city hall.
Yeah.
GCPD is 2. Where's it? It's over here,
Okay.
and there was no dot there that I remember.
Right.
Again, but so that kind of blows up that portion of the theory. Just for common information, Thorn could be 2 or 3 different characters from DC. It doesn't exist as an agency at all
Okay. Yeah. So it's,
anywhere except for in this
for the story.
story. So therefore, it is not.
Right.
You can't use. Oh well, this is what they normally like. You can't do what we do with Ivy.
Right. But I do think that their name tends to,
Yeah.
a federal
I like the
agency named
weaponizing idea.
Thorn. Yeah, it's like how do we weaponize Ivy's,
Yeah. No, I think that purple thing that was on
for
their badge indicates something to them.
for government fascism.
Yeah, I would vote for let's go down the Thorn branch for a while, personally, but I'm also happy to be outvoted.
What do we really have left other than that, though? It's more underground stuff, right? We can either do underground stuff or find out more about Thorn if we're not serious
Yeah.
about Scarecrow.
Right. Well, and I'm not that serious about Scarecrow, but I'm interested in Blackgate because of the X on it. like I would want to go to that lead, maybe find out stuff about Scarecrow, but maybe also incidentally find out about either a presence of Thorn or a presence of a minor outbreak or something like that.
What's some options for Harvey?
He would be interested in Harvey would be interested
Well, I mean,
in,
it would be
in
like they
Finn
say.
Harris at GCPD, information about Finn Harris. But
But he was the one with the Norns, right? He was like one of the leader.
Yeah.
Or
yeah. And this might be like a post-Norn situation.
Because here's what's happening. Catwoman is kind of staying near the underground and the
Right.
iceberg.
Yeah. She's
So,
You're staying in high society.
basically.
He's doing, yeah.
here's the thing is,
Or follow Jim.
and what were those? What were these?
I mean, we're at Thorn Labs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
we could follow Jim to wherever he's going.
oh, was that a?
That's the assistant,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
because he's probably
It's
stupid and will
underground.
accidentally say things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Handicap in Old Gotham specifically is what he said, and it would be an underground lead.
The underground is going to cost us tokens, right?
Oh, right.
Handicap
Whereas,
is listed on here.
whereas, if we could do Gotham Gazette, Vale could get. Wasn't it Vale could get information about Thorn from? I thought there was a.
Oh yeah. 318 was that investigate Thorn.
I don't know that she's going to get deep information though. Like Vale, ask Vale to learn more about Marcus Redding, leader of Thorn. Excuse me, not the Gotham City Gazette. That just the only advantage to that one over the underground leads is that it costs less clues to follow. Right now, no matter how we do it, because we could spend Vale could spend one token plus these, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's still two more. The other two tokens to get this to go back to the underground.
Right. The only thing is that we also flip that back.
Right. So it's more efficient than spending the 3 on just this one.
Right.
But we would still, either way we do it, we would still be out of clues at that.
And if we were to do that, it would be
I would say this then, if you want to meta the game, I would say I would prefer to go to Blackgate first, cause
And then
it to be
flip them all at
exhausted,
once.
and then flip them all at once.
yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Would we have enough clues remaining though?
We'll gain one clue from there,
Well, it costs,
so then we'll have to get
it
another.
costs us 2,
Yeah.
Right, but we'll probably gain one back,
and we would need 2 more back.
and then we go do a free thing,
Okay.
and then you gain another clue or 2 plus get there.
Alright.
So it's probably more time that way.
It would also be, yeah, I don't know. The downtown, going back to Iceberg Lounge, I still don't think we'll get in Iceberg or anything like that. But I wonder if this lead would be another way to kind of tail Thorn, because going back to Iceberg Lounge, the reason that we would be following this lead where they were loading the
Yeah,
equipment. So I wonder if that would be less exterior of Iceberg Lounge.
Oh, that
Definitely not
equipment
interior,
was going
but I think
to Iceberg Lounge.
right.
So he's saying go watch and see what they do with the equipment,
That's what I'm thinking.
or
that
go
would
follow
be.
the kid.
Yeah, and then that might also, I don't know if we could get any analysis from it, but we could see maybe
I don't disagree with that.
it looks like a gun. like
It looks like a bomb to me. It has a vacuum or something on it.
I mean,
a vacuum.
Yeah, you're right.
Like a
Some kind of a
suppressor type thing.
It's a freeze ray. It's Dr. Freeze.
yeah, there you go.
it's
yeah.
it's presumably,
To kill the mold.
presumably
Yeah.
Thorn's trying
It's
to
like a fogger.
trying to combat the
It's
mold.
an antifungal.
Okay, so I would say if you want to save some money, then I would agree with that. That I would prefer to go to watch them use this weapon
Mhm.
against the mold than follow the kid and spend
I
double.
guess other free options are the Gazette. I don't think that will gain as much information
Right.
there, but that would be investigating Thorn and
Right.
free that we could try to build up a couple more clues before spending a bunch. Yeah,
What is the following them? That's back to
that's back to Iceberg.
So we're either
Lounge.
following the
downtown,
gun,
but it's downtown.
we're following
Right.
the weapon, which is free,
Mhm.
or we're following the kid, which will cost us.
Yeah, so I'm fine either. We can do downtown for no clues. We can do Gazette for no clues.
Mhm.
I'm fine with either of those options before we do something like Blackgate for
And,
2.
and I feel like
clues.
either of those might give us more Thorn information. If we can overhear conversations, would be great.
Yeah, so we can go back to iceberg. That's fine.
Okay.
All right, let's go see what they did with it.
All right, so that is 321.
I'm spending our hour.
321, please, out of the remorse.
Yep.
And that's going to be a Catwoman.
Yeah. All right.
I hope it's not just a dead end. Oh, wait, I'm okay if it's a dead end card. I hope it at least gives us information.
All right.
I hope
It's a lot of words
not
on
just
it.
showing up on a, yeah, it's covered in vines. Like stuff we knew.
You come up to the edge of a cliff.
No,
You
not
slip
this.
and
Not
fall.
this.
Okay.
Again.
Downtown. The crowd in front of the Iceberg Lounge is constantly growing. The building itself is surrounded by Thorn's vans and people in hazmat suits collecting samples of the vines and purple mold that wrap the casino. You find a nice spot on the roof of an adjacent building and observe the situation. One of the agents, a muscular man with a scar on his forehead, is speaking through a loudspeaker. Please stay away from the windows. It is best if everyone inside made their way to the basements. We will now turn on a very strong beam of light. It is dangerous to your eyes. Everyone, please cover your eyes, he yells to the crowd.
I wouldn't use Sonic's not.
You put on your goggles at the very last moment. A beam of blinding yellow light shoots out of the device. The mass of mold and vines at the entrance of the Iceberg Lounge evaporates in seconds. The hole is still too small to let anyone out, though. Jay, should we increase the power level? Asked the scared man, speaking to a one-eyed scientist on the... I'll ask the scarred man, speaking to a one-eyed scientist on the controls of the machine.
I like how injured these scientists are.
I know.
Like,
We can, but it is useless. We would need something much stronger to clear the whole city. At least a few hours of cloudless sky. Yeah, not in Gotham, you whisper to yourself. 10 minutes later, they get ready to shoot another beam. You hear a terrifying scream somewhere in the distance. You strain your eyes and recognize a familiar figure heading toward the Iceberg Lounge, transporting herself there by a massive stem that sprouts under the street. Great. She's here. Just what we needed, says the one-eyed agent. I told you, she's out of control. Your stupid experiments. Bringing someone with her power level into this. Shut up, says the scarred man, and turns the loudspeaker toward the green-skinned, red-headed woman landing on the roof of the Iceberg Lounge. Massive vines twine all around her like a sentient being. Beings. Mom and them's got them beings. The sentient beings. Poison Ivy, what are you doing here? He asked. You must have other less important buildings to play with. We have experiments, important work here. The woman doesn't answer. She raises her hand. An enormous vine wraps around one of the Thorn cars and squishes it like an aluminum can. The crowd begins to flee in terror.
mayhem! Mayhem!
Agents draw their weapons, but the scarred man stops them immediately. Don't hurt her. We're not done with the research. Pamela. Oh, just let us do our test. Why are you trying to free him? If anyone deserves to rot in a trap, it's Oswald Cobblepot. Oswald Cobblepot, thank you. His investments in that hideous factory are an insult to nature. Take your useless, pathetic device and leave. After smashing another van, the agents finally comply with her request. They pack up their equipment and drive off. Once the street is finally empty, you think you hear the penguin's angry screams from inside the Iceberg Lounge. Gain one clue. I have the option to spend one of my things to try and convince Poison Ivy to let me into the Iceberg Lounge. That would cost us 1 token.
Yep. You want to do that?
I'd be okay if you want to try, but I don't know how convincing you would be.
Well, they're friends.
But it sounds like
Alright,
she's pretty
so
pissed at
I
Penguin,
need
though.
card V.
Nice.
Do you have to spend this?
Yeah.
To do it? Get it, you spend it.
Vicky Vale, Vicky Vale. Chuck. You climb the roof of the Iceberg Lounge. Poison Ivy is standing at the edge of the building as the vines shift and tighten their grasp around the building. Mind your own business, cat. You're not welcome here, she says as you approach. There are innocent civilians down there, you answer, and someone very important to me. So yeah, it is my business. We have 2 very different opinions about innocence, she says. Or she sighs. 2 minutes. She uses a vine to break a hole in the glass roof, and you slide inside down on your whip. You know exactly where the penguin stashes his valuables. You easily locate the safe, carry out as much money and jewels and other valuables as you can.
You're not going to talk to him at all.
When you're done, you go back to the highest floor, aim your whip at the hole in the roof. That's when you hear the approaching steps. Catwoman, how did you get in here? Yells the penguin. Are you stealing from me?
I love your priorities.
Oh, this. You ask innocently, looking at the bag on your arm. Thanks for looking after this for me, but I can take care of myself from now on. I can take care of it myself from now on. I'm sorry what happened to your casino. What a shame penguins can't fly. As you climb up. 2 seconds later, you're on the roof again, chased by Cobblepot's mad screams. Did you find who you were looking for? Asked Ivy. Where are they? You said you wanted to free someone important. Did I say someone? You cover your mouth with your hand. Oops, I meant something. Anyway, thanks for the help. Come back here, yells Ivy as you fly towards you in a fury, but not quite fast enough. You're already far from the casino by then.
Did you lie to us about your personal objectives?
I think I just passed my personal objective. I didn't think it would be fair for me to let you know that I want to steal my loot back.
I love it. I love it. That's amazing.
So we wasted a clue on your,
Oh,
focus
Catwoman. Classic.
Well, I
Catwoman.
mean, she's a villain. Come on. I can't be completely open.
Mm-hmm.
But I did think that it would be I actually thought it would give us information.
That's amazing. No,
But it didn't.
She didn't even talk to Penguin.
It didn't say anything about stealing loot or anything. It just said try to convince Ivy to let you into the lounge.
Oh.
I mean,
No, I mean your personal objective.
my personal objective was to retrieve the loot.
Oh, but you
That-
did not.
that-
Yeah.
That Carmine Falcone, who's her father,
Yeah.
stole, and he said, you know, I'm sorry I screwed things up for you, but you can get the loot back from Penguin.
Got it. Well, look, somebody achieved something.
Right. By snickering us.
Yep. Yep.
And Penguin and Ivy.
Now here's the
How many
good thing.
people did you lie to?
Here's the good thing. You got she just lied through the whole thing. And you guys didn't go through it until the very end. You were like,
Yeah.
oh, we're gonna get because Penguin's behind. You're like, oh.
Oh, Penguin's also there.
All right.
The good thing is now there's no wild goose chases for criminals. But I still think
Did we spend the hour on that?
We should be at 5. Right?
Right.
I think. Oh, should we be at 6 actually? I guess.
do we have to spend an hour on that?
Yep.
I think it's an investigation. So
Okay,
1,
I
2,
apologize
3,
for that,
4,
'cause I-
5, 6, 7. I think we might actually be at 7. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Wasn't one of those initially free? No, because we went to. These are 1 and 2, in essence, even though they're not.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, if we have to spend an hour for her to go inside, then yes. I didn't realize that. I thought that was just free. I thought the personal. Yeah. Because flipping this over doesn't cost us now. Well, it does.
Well, that's true. We could look that up because I'm not sure. I guess the question is if it counts as.
Is it a lead?
It says read. It's phrased differently because it's not phrased as a further lead. It's
Right.
It's spend 1 token, read card V.
Oh, okay,
so
then it's not a lead.
yeah.
I don't think
I'm
it
okay
is.
with that, though.
You only pay for leads.
It's just wasting one of our investigations.
Oh, yeah,
tokens.
yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
it does. Not wasting, because
Yeah.
we're going to get points for people accomplishing their goals, right?
You will. Well, you won't.
Well, but we're part of the team. If you didn't want me, why did you come find me, Vicky Vale?
Right. Good question.
Did you not know what you were getting when you invited me along?
Alright, what can
Amazing.
the real investigator do?
But I think that solidifies what you were thinking too, like the
Also-
using her powers.
Let me remind you of this. My idea was to go to Blackgate, flip everything over, and then go to the underground. None of which is near. I only took that because you
Yeah.
guys went there.
That's true. Yeah, we set that up.
I'm trying to help. I'm a little bit of a gruff.
help yourself to some jewels.
Well, while I'm there, yes.
Don't mind.
You find the way into Iceberg Lounge and you don't ask a single pertinent question.
You accidentally run into Penguin in there.
We have a once in a mission opportunity to get inside information, but nah.
That's funny.
Don't even grab a sample of the mold.
Right. Uh-oh. Everything all right?
Yeah, it's freaking ACT scores are in. So we just spent like $1,000 in tutoring, and Sophia's score for in math went to exactly the same space.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
So she has a super score of 29.
I did the SATs. How was ACT?
That's 36 is the top.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Why is that say September 24?
See, when I was,
Okay, this is for a different
we had
time.
to do both. I had to do both. Sorry, both, but of course. I wasn't the highest SAT score at our school, but I was the highest ACT score at our school.
We had a kid this year that got a perfect 36,
Nice.
up from a 35 the last time he took it.
Oh wow, yeah. He was that close. He's like,
He's like, I want to try again. I
Yeah.
want to read it.
He actually was. That was his goal, was
That's
to try and
kinda
get a
cool.
perfect score.
Yep.
Oddly enough, he's going to go to school for free.
Yeah.
He's on the spectrum, so it's a little bit of a, thing.
Personal accomplishment. Yeah.
I'm going to go to the restroom. You guys, I agree with wherever you want to go.
All right. How do we get this investigation back on your
Right. Yeah. What just happened? Amazing.
So I guess we could do downtown
Mm-hmm.
and maybe get a clue from that, right?
Yeah. So if we do downtown, we could learn about Goodwin. If we go to the Gazette, we can investigate Thorn. If we go to City Hall, We could look into Goodwin's conflict. Those are the three Those are the three
Oh,
free
I
leads.
thought there was something else downtown. Oh no, we just did the thing. No, never mind. That was that thing. Okay.
Yeah. I wonder if Goodwin could give us more information. If she was working with Ivy, yeah, I wonder if that could give us more insight into, well, the power dynamics are kind of interesting because what happened to Ivy? She got the vans to drive off. Like she got Thorne to back off.
But there's some cross purpose because
they
the
definitely work
scientist
together
was like,
in a
don't
way.
hurt her.
Yeah, we're not done with our experiments.
So she's a subject of their experiments, and maybe a cooperative subject or something.
Right.
But at the same time, they're trying to experiment on the mold. But her thing is that she wants Cobblepot to remain
encased in the stuff, including
her vines.
Yeah, like his iceberg lounge and the textiles factory for the same reason.
Right.
Like, that's why she attacked both, I guess.
Right. So I
don't think she's attacking the mold.
No, she's attacking. No, she's using the vines, but I don't know if her vines are causing the mold or if her vines are just a second layer on top of the mold.
Right. I'm still thinking that they might be like a vine infection of some kind until we see them separated. I still think that they might actually be related.
Okay. Because it did say that there's something wrong with her, right?
The previous, yes, they were like, Doctor, come quick. There's something wrong with Ivy.
Yeah. As if she was present in the moment that they determined that something was wrong with her, so she was like cooperating with them, and then something's wrong, and she like departs, and then goes and attacks them for trying to free Penguin, which they were just basically experimenting with their device to see what effect it had on the mold.
Yeah. Well, and it worked on the vines too, though. Like their device worked on both, so that might just have been a byproduct. Like if they were trying to experiment on her, it could have been a weapon designed against her, sort of thing. But she crushed their van, and they dispersed when she told them to. So even if they had the weapon, they didn't want to harm her, obviously.
Right.
And they were okay with her running.
And the way she was talking to them, it was not super adversarial, meaning she wasn't treating them like complete unknowns.
Right. And
she was only
on a first name basis with her.
Right.
Don't hurt her. We're not done with the research. Pamela, just let us do our tests.
Right. Exactly. On first name basis. So she's not opposed to their existence.
Mm-hmm.
She's just opposed to their present objective.
Yeah.
Right.
And she was stating as such. Like, rot in a trap. Oswald Cobblepot.
Yeah. So she doesn't view them as a threat to herself. Right. That's not how she's viewing them or treating them. What do we have?
I mean, I guess to your point, it could still be she could be attacking the mold, and if the Penguin released the mold by doing his shenanigans with the equipment or something like that, he could have released the mold. She could still be attacking the mold and him as doing her eco thing, like you're messing with the environment, you're an affront to nature.
Right.
That could be her motivation. Otherwise, we don't know why she's mad at the Penguin.
Right.
Or she's mad for a different reason, and she's infected with some sort of mold that accompanies her minds.
Right. So we can ask Vale to talk to Goodwin at downtown, or we can ask Vale to about Thorn at the Gazette, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And City Hall, we can look into more about Goodwin's conflict. I think that one was talking directly to Goodwin, potentially. I can't remember.
well, Vale talking to Goodwin is down.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
How do you get access to the back computer?
So
No Catwoman.
no. So I'm
Other alternative idea
Well,
personal.
well,
I also
twice.
have. I do have two personal plans. One is to get the loot, and the other is to get with Batman.
Right.
I would maybe lean towards Vale talk to Goodwin downtown because that will hopefully give us a clue back that someone burned.
Well, you have clues to do everything you need to do.
Not really.
Yeah, because that one clue doesn't do anything for you. Because you have to spend one to either unexhaust everything,
Right.
which puts you back at 3. So that's an odd number. Or you have to spend 2 and 1 to go to a place, which still puts you at 0 or 1. So you need 2 clues.
Yeah, I think I'd be up for one of the free ones at the moment, and then strongly leaning towards, unless other routes open up, strongly leaning towards penitentiary because of the axe. And
We could potentially
see how
get
that's-
2 free ones, one here and one here, right?
Right.
So we are
Well, we have 3
we are-
potential free ones at the moment.
we are 3 away from having to do recap.
Right.
Well,
And-
recap for green. We can recap for yellow if we want. If we choose, right, for unless
Yeah.
score.
Well, and the recap isn't anything except a reminder for us to discuss our findings so far. Like it's not anything gameplay wise. When we get to green or later, that's when we can choose when to end it.
We recap all the time. We don't wait
Exactly.
for-
Okay.
Exactly.
So I guess my question is, again, it's a little bit of a meta situation. What have we got when we spent clues as far as leads and other things versus free stuff? Like it seems odd that if we keep doing free stuff for the whole time that we're going to progress.
Well,
At some point you have to make some hard
of them,
decisions.
One of them was kind of a dead end, like the underground in the Penguins. That
Yeah,
gave
that's
us a
true.
piece of art and like nothing.
Right. What was the other thing that is the other option there?
The other one was the headquarters.
No,
We went to the headquarters. This one that we flipped by. Wait.
Oh no.
No, never mind. We didn't.
No,
spend
you're
it on
right. The only thing we spent a thing on
that. And it was
the underground.
and it was kind of a dead
and
end.
it was a dead end.
Yeah.
It was flavor.
Yeah, but I think we're going to have to do underground again. But
I
would have Vale talk to Goodwin. I think
I
we
like
might
that
get
idea.
more out of her talking to her than just background information.
I
about her.
agree with that. I'd rather talk to her.
I
Yeah,
think that's 3 or 4 or something.
that should be. That's what I wrote down. I asked Bill to talk to Goodwin. Yeah, I'm good with
Alright,
that.
alright.
304.
All right. Let's see. This is probably going to be a Garrett read because
Wait.
Garrett's Vale.
Right. And I like that idea too because we might find out more of Goodwin and Ivy's, if they're actually cooperating and to what extent.
And there was a
About
city
that.
hall, Vicky Vale, to talk to her about the conflict.
Right.
Well, it's
With
it's
the
it's
conflict with the
it-
factory.
No,
I
no.
don't think it's
But-
talk to her. I think it's just find
Information.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I know. I'm just saying that hopefully that's doubling the information,
Yeah.
or at least not doubling, but touching on.
Getting a different angle on it. Goodwin visited you once in your apartment. Now it's your turn. You arrive at the front door of her mansion and see the doorbell is broken. The lights on the second floor are on, and you see shadows move across the curtains. You check if the door is locked. It's not. You invite yourself in. Mrs. Good, Longnet Hicks. You correct yourself, remembering she uses her maiden name now. You walk up the stairs following the light, and you've got card 29. Mrs. Longnet Hicks. You ask again a bit louder as you enter the room. You knew that after what happened to Liam, Goodwin had a breakdown, but you didn't realize it was that bad. Oh, I did not I don't actually remember what happened to Liam, but whatever. That was a previous story. Oh, Vicky Vale, she says, her voice is raspy. Sorry, I didn't hear this doorbell.
That's okay. You look around the room and see walls covered in layers of notes and newspaper clippings. Are you all right? What's all this? She doesn't answer, busy moving about, arranging the papers. Are you trying to get to the camera, or are you good? Listen, I know you knew something about the mold. You say, approaching her. She finally turns around. The friendly smile disappeared from her face. Do you still believe you can save Gotham City? She gets up and looks you straight in the eye. The city's beyond saving. Are you collaborating with Poison Ivy? You ask, getting straight to the point as well. She's magnificent, isn't she? Says Josephine. Especially now, after her powers were enhanced. I only whispered a few convincing words into her ear. To do what? Gotham City must be purged, she yells, grabbing your wrist. She'll destroy Blackgate, and then Arkham. No more walls to keep me away from my son. Innocent people will be harmed, you say. Sorry, Vicky, you're a good person, but I won't let you ruin this. It's enough that Poison Ivy backed out from the original plan. That treacherous witch. She should have freed William just as she promised. Everything would be all right. What are you talking about, you ask, and then you see a silver statue in her hand. She swings it at you, but you dodge at the last moment. When she loses her balance, you rush forward and catch the first cab you see down the street. You rush downstairs and catch the first cab you see on the street. Where are we going? Asks the driver. Anywhere, far from this house, you say as your adrenaline surges. Should you call the police and let them know that Josephine is working with Poison Ivy? How can you be sure that Ivy isn't manipulating Josephine? We do get a clue, and further leads. Visit William Goodwin, aka Liam Bricks, 308 Arkham Asylum, or find Poison Ivy 313 downtown.
Find Poison Ivy's nice, but anyway.
Yeah, and that's a free location.
Here's the thing.
Did you move this?
No, I'm sorry.
Cool. No, you're good.
Here's the thing: here's a picture of Poison Ivy, and it says traitor, right?
Okay.
So that's referring to the whole, she should have done, got
the deal
William out, yeah. But I think more significantly, I'm pretty sure she's the chick in the video.
Oh.
I think she's one of the two.
I thought that the one in the video was one of the dead scientists.
No, the two people in the video are the perpetrators. Right?
Maybe.
They're the gas aren't they the gas mask wearing perpetrators, or
They could be.
Or you
for
thinking?
for some reason, I thought that they were wearing gas masks because they were just doing experiments on or trying to. Find
no,
out
because
substances.
these are people entering the lab.
Okay.
When you look at the lab door, watch it. The lab door is open, and these are two people entering the lab. I think those are the perpetrators, and I think she's one of them.
Okay. Yeah, that could be.
She does have a lab coat on.
Yeah.
I think she's the chick.
So then the other one is William.
Well, Liam is in
That
Arkham
could
Asylum,
be.
but it might be Finn because they were stealing Finn's stuff, and Finn's whereabouts are unknown. So she might have teamed up with Finn in an effort to get William back.
And so I'm still, even more after that card, I'm still on the route of thinking that Ivy is causing or somehow combined with the mold. Because
If she and Finn,
her powers are enhanced.
So here's my current line of thinking. She and Finn, or she finds, she wants William back, right? But that's her whole purpose of getting Ivy involved, right? That's her motive.
Power to
Her whole motive is to get Liam/William back, and he's in Arkham or Blackgate. He's in one of the two, right? They say, but I think it might be Blackgate. Anyway, regardless, so she teams up with
Ivy.
with Finn Harris.
Okay.
And Finn Harris says, I can help you, but I need my shit from GCPD. So they go and they raid GCPD, kill the 3 forensic scientists in the process, take all of Ferris's stuff, and then with that stuff, he brews a concoction that either intentionally or unintentionally she manages to infect Ivy with when she gets
Yes.
Ivy involved
Yes, we're at 4.
to, whispers things in Ivy's ears like, Sickle's so bad and I will help you take down
Right.
Sickle in exchange for what you get my William back. But in the process of that whole exchange, like I said, she either intentionally or unintentionally infects Ivy with a concoction that she brewed up with Harris from the shit that they stole from from GCPD.
I just want to throw this out here. You guys don't have to do this, but my supposed path would be that we go to Arkham and Blackgate for whatever we think are the strongest leads there, and with one of the
Is one in
clues,
here?
yep, and then with one of the clues that we gain, we
Flip them
flip
all.
everything.
Yeah.
Unless there's a bat cave. Like, I would like to use her power to flip everything.
Yeah.
Not flip 2,
Right.
then flip 2 more.
Yeah.
Well, to get
I like
to
that.
get here, we need Catwoman, right? Because we need a bat.
We have Catwoman.
Right.
She's not. Look, just because I went and took care of a little personal business doesn't mean that I'm not here for the team.
And I'm kind of interested in the downtown find Poison Ivy.
Okay.
Like if we have yet another option to talk with her or see what else she's doing, I wonder if we can.
Yeah.
I think that we still have information to gain on her relationship with others.
With,
yeah,
with
Thorne in general.
with Goodwin, or
Yeah, I think that she's
Because
still a viable
if
lead.
Goodwin is considering Ivy a traitor, then did Ivy basically come to the conclusion that she was being used by Goodwin and therefore like kind of broke her?
Yeah.
rebelled or something.
Yeah.
That is usually a thematic Ivy situation. She finds out a little too late that
She's being used.
some man usually was lying to her. Then she gets really mad.
Yeah.
And trying to find Poison Ivy is downtown, so it's a freebie.
Unless, of course, you put those fake lips on and kiss her with that.
The fake lips, yes.
Batman.
Yeah, the bat lips.
The bat lips. The bat lips. That was, which one was that? Clooney?
Oh, I was referring to the '60s.
I know. But that was a plot device.
Yeah.
And the one with Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
That was not Clooney. That was Val Kilmer. Because Val Kilmer was the Batman during Poison Ivy and Two-Face and the Riddler.
So which
Carrey.
which
Jim
was
Carrey.
so in your opinion?
No. Poison Ivy was with Mr. Freeze.
Oh,
Yeah.
Which was
Schwarzenegger.
Clooney.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: in
Yes.
your opinion, because people always debate, who is the best Bond, or and all that kind of stuff. Who is the worst Batman?
worst?
Kilmer or Clooney?
Clooney. Not because he's the worst. It's because. So here's the thing: when Shoemaker takes over.
I mean, we already know that Keaton was the best.
Yes.
But
when Shoemaker takes over and does Batman stuff, he creates this kind of like darkish world, and his jokes don't land, and his visual jokes don't land the same way that Tim Burton's does.
Right.
So he's trying to create this outlandish world, and it really just tends to be kind of like flamboyant more than anything else. And so when they do the Batman with the Riddler, Jim Carrey goes way over the top, and it kind of works in that area, right? So it kind of works. So I think that Shoemaker's like, I've got a success because I made these choices. I need to go further. So then we get like the bat nipples and the weird car that's even worse, and we get all this stuff that he didn't that somebody put the reins on him the first time.
And he was justified.
But he didn't make as much money, and it kind of but he's like, it's justified, but I just need to go further.
Right.
So at this point, it goes so much further that you have a good actor doing really ridiculous things in a suit that literally the suit gets worse and worse. Like he can't move at all, and so it's all just really stationary stuff. And like some of the lines that are in that Batman and Robin are like, is that the right one? Whatever, the Mr. Freeze stuff. Yeah. Like you've got you pay all this money to Arnold Schwarzenegger to be the villain, and he is making these like puns that are not puns.
Right.
So he no longer is even making sense as the camp, like, because he went more campy in a way that wasn't artistic campy. It was like, I don't know, like some of the stuff that Schwarzenegger said as Mr. Freeze is crazy. Like it doesn't even make sense. I would Google it and find like what are all the things. Right. So because of that, Clooney's never able to do anything in that role. Yeah. Right. So I think that's kind of part of it. Is he is a major victim of the production. Like one time we did the rep did a Romeo and Juliet, and the director that was here then a lot of times just didn't have like big ideas. Like the Shakespeare Festival usually has really big ideas, and sometimes they like miss on the idea and there's some kind of odd stuff going on, but for the most part, because they take these big swings, there's kind of successful kind of stuff. Because it's not wouldn't it be fun? It would be cool if everybody is wearing purple or whatever. It just is like so. One year they did Julius Caesar, and they kind of put it in this media age, and they had a camera following Caesar around, not Caesar, but Mark Antony, and it kind of didn't work fully for me because it didn't add anything to the story. It just showed the story larger. Like it wasn't, like when you have a camera that's like a character, it has secret views. It sees things that you as the audience, it's the turn in the look to the camera, not the camera's following him and he's already looking at the camera, right? But it was a really good idea. It was a great swing and almost hit. So they did one once, and it was basically the director didn't take a swing, but the costume designer did, and it was the most flamboyant costumes. Like it had like men with open chests, and it's Romeo and Juliet.
Sure, yeah.
It was everybody's in these like really big, and they've got cod, and it's all kinds of stuff, and it's like none of it makes sense except for. Man, I forget his name. Not Mercutio. Yeah, Mercutio. Who is basically overly, like, aggressively sexual.
Gotcha.
Like, he taunts Tybalt constantly. Should I swing my sword at you? Like, stuff like that. Like, constantly. So he's just,
innuendo.
Yeah, he's just innuendo constantly, some overt, and because it's in Shakespearean, a lot of times but it's a wonderfully like bold character. So he's the only one that exists in this world that makes any sense. That's what that Batman was an out of control element where nothing else vibes with it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But yes, I do say Clooney was one of the it only lasted for a minute, but you know who I really also liked as Batman to some degree was the on Titans, Ian. What's his last name? I'll show you this picture.
So what lead
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That guy was Batman.
Yeah.
And Batman died.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Lane. Or Ian.
I think
Anyway.
I'm leaning towards downtown to try to talk to Poison Ivy or the Blackgate Penitentiary, with the idea of eventually also doing the asylum or something like that before flipping them all back.
I'm on board with talking to Ivy.
Okay, let's do that.
I'm really less interested in Scarecrow for this particular scenario.
Yeah, and for
He,
me, it's
he
not
might be
scary.
interested.
Yeah,
William-
William would be more pertinent.
Okay.
For me, it's not Scarecrow so much as the location.
Oh,
yeah.
It's the X that, and so far that's the only thing at
Yeah.
Blackgate. 313 is lead.
Is this another Vale does things?
It just says find poison.
Yeah,
Ivy.
it's
Is it big?
Vale.
Okay.
Does things.
Vicky Vale. Chunk.
I'm gonna advance state.
Here you go.
You turn on your computer to see GCNN's live coverage stream covering the current situation in the city. They show the Iceberg Lounge, the Sickle Ink factory, Batman evacuating people from infested buildings, and finally Poison Ivy spotted in Old Gotham. You immediately get into a cab and rush to see what she's up to with your own eyes. You join the crowd gathered on the street, both excited and intimidated. Poison Ivy stands on the roof of a nearby tenement. What's the name of that guy?
Yeah. Jump.
I looked up some of these Arnold
Oh
lines.
yeah.
Ice to see you. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
Right.
That's not.
That's so weird. Yeah.
Let's kick some ice. Now see that one.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. If revenge is a dish best served cold, then put on your Sunday finest.
Okay. So clunky.
It's just so like.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Mr. Freeze is there.
Yes. Always winterize your pipes.
Was that one of his lines?
Yes. It's
So
like
weird.
suddenly he's like, the whole
PSA,
handyman.
I do think that after looking at the footage again, I do think that Michael is correct about
Michael's
those
right,
being
yeah.
the break-in folks, because the guy he's a white dude with dark hair, and he does not look like
Yeah.
any of the victims, and then
Right.
she does not look like the victim either. She looks like a
Yeah.
blonde.
I think you're right.
So yeah, they must be the. And then I guess that makes more sense as to. I thought she looked so worried when she saw it though, that her face, like they both looked scared. That's why I thought that they were looking at the perp who Gotham or something, but like they look super scared when they look at the camera.
Yeah.
What is that?
But did I miss?
Oh, nothing.
We were making
We're looking at Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze quotes.
Puns? Yeah.
What
Yeah.
killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
Always winterize your pipes.
Always winterize your.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Somebody paid Arnold Schwarzenegger to say that line in a movie.
Yes. And it to be a humorous Mr. Freeze pun.
Right, classic Mr. Freeze.
Classic pun. Nah.
But it's not a pun.
It's not.
You know where that would be?
It's
You know
such
where that would
weird
be a
one.
great line in the Batman.
Turtles
and-
crossover.
No, the Batman and Robin porno.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And he goes. She goes. Can I help you, Mr. Freeze? Always winterize my pipes.
Yes, see, that would be an innuendo more than a pun, but still.
That would make more sense than
Right.
him saying it to Batman and Robin.
Because to your point, first of all, saying you don't kill the dinosaurs, the Ice Age, that's a historical inaccuracy.
Right. That's also.
That's not a pun. That's just a historical inaccuracy.
Yeah.
And then always winterize your pipe is not a pun. That's just
PSA
a homemaking tip.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
that's just
Now the good thing is
Yeah,
you gotta
right.
understand. Listen, Mr. Freeze is just a humble scientist. He doesn't know things about science.
All right, so for this one, Poison Ivy stands on the roof of a nearby tenement. You've never seen her this angry. Then you notice another person behind her.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Freeze, you ask yourself.
Uh-oh.
Shouldn't he be in Arkham?
Yeah.
Is he collaborating with Poison Ivy? Ivy raises her arms and vines sprout from beneath the street. The erupting vegetation is almost immediately covered by purple mold. She shrieks with frustration. Mr. Freeze shakes his head. Get back to work or our deal's off. You'll go back to Arkham and Nora will be covered in mold. She yells at him. You can barely hear her, but he adjusts the freeze ray and begins shooting at the massive mold on the nearest building. The mold immediately dissolves and stops spreading, but the range of Mr. Freeze's weapon is too small to make any significant difference, especially since the mold has already consumed entire streets. Poison Ivy gets even angrier when a GCPD helicopter appears hovering above the roof. Shoo! She waves her hand and enormous vines chase the helicopter away. But that's not the end of her that is not the end of her problems. Soon the street is flooded with thorn vans and agents in black suits. Not you again, she sighs, and prepares to attack. Just leave me alone already. One of the vines wraps around the van and smashes it against the ground.
What
Both
were they there
agents and
for?
civilians start running away from the onslaught of vegetation. You should probably get going too. It's probably safer to watch the stream. Gain one clue, and then Vicky Vale can spend her token, contact Catwoman and ask her to bring help. Would read card U.
I mean, you know how I feel about personal.
Yeah. and it's Catwoman.
And also, I feel like you could take a coin anytime you feel like you're going to.
Yeah. I think let's do it. Hey, Catwoman, let's get in on this. Personal goals that
I mean, who's doing it?
Jared's spinning a personal goal.
I am.
Damn it!
I tried to stop him. Purr. It wasn't me. Purr.
Your phone, and those are still better lines than Mr. Freeze. Your phone vibrates with an unknowing incoming call. Hello, this is Vale. I have your location. Don't move. A dark and familiar voice says, and then hangs up. Less than a minute later, you see a large figure land on the rooftop across from you. It's Batman.
Oh.
You can see the frustration in Ivy's body language. She immediately gets ready to attack him. Can't you see I'm trying to stop it? She yells. Leave me alone. Then let me help you, Batman responds. This is none of your business. I don't need your help. But the people of Gotham need it.
He answers, "Are you responsible for this?" He points at the mold covering the street. The question makes her green skin almost pink from anger. "Of course not. This is fungi. It's beyond my control." She jumps out and several vines shoot towards Batman. Seconds later, they're all cut apart by batarangs. Poison Ivy prepares for another attack. "Miss, get out of here," yells a female police officer grabbing you by the arm. "Get into the car. It's dangerous here." She's probably right. Your job is done here anyway. You get in the car and let the officer escort you to the Gotham City Gazette office.
Really?
We didn't really gain anything from that. We didn't quite confirm.
Does it help anything? It just rules out
Well, what we
Poison
know.
Ivy's.
Well, I don't know that it does because
This is saying that
It's
that she is
immediately.
infected.
because
So
it's
the
like
mold is coming from her vines, but it's not her intention that it do so.
right, exactly.
And so she's roped Mr. Freeze into freezing off the mold off her vines,
Right.
but he can only do so to a limited extent. So that feeds into my theory that she and her accomplice, whom I'm presuming at the moment is Finn,
Yeah.
They're the ones that
that
infected her.
did something that is now infecting Poison Ivy's powers.
Yeah. And it could still
With
be
this
part
nostalgia
of
based, mushroom based concoction. Because
Right.
remember, it was nostalgia chemicals and shrooms that were taken, right? So those are all the ingredients of a mold that has chemical components in common with nostalgia, right?
Right,
Which we were told at the
exactly.
very beginning.
Yeah.
So I'm like, they brewed something from the stuff that they took from the crime scene, and then she got Poison Ivy involved and somehow either intentionally or unintentionally infected Poison Ivy with this mold carrier. Did you add a clue and then immediately spend it?
Yes, I
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it is a shame that it didn't immediately, like it didn't.
Yeah.
I think the personal
Well, yeah,
objectives
I mean,
don't
I'm
really give us
pretty
more.
sure.
They're a way.
No, I knew it was
It's
that,
just that
but
one.
it doesn't solve his personal.
Well,
Oh.
mine. I mean, I'll just go ahead and say what mine is, because I'm
I
good,
said
but
mine.
this is
Mine's a
dead
noble
end.
personal objective.
Find out what superpowered being is responsible for the mold. Like, so
Yeah, it's ideal.
that clue. Yeah, but this card did nothing for that. Like the previous card is.
Mine
Like,
was
all we
mine
needed.
was very noble. Somebody had stolen something,
From you.
not from me, from another person, and it says,
From your
"Get
pal."
into the iceberg lounge and steal back your loot."
Your loot.
Yeah, but it's my loot because my dad gave it to me. It was stolen from him.
Oh.
Here's what, just so you know, here's the letter that. I believe you're mad at me, but there's something I think may improve your feelings. Find my hideout under the Rosemary Restaurant in Coventry. My people will give you half the spoils from our war with the Norns. That's right. I may still be in prison, but that doesn't mean the Penguin and I weren't victorious. I hope this little gift satisfies you. Just hurry up. You know the Penguin doesn't like to share. And then she goes there, and he's like, captures a guy. Where's the loot? The Penguin. He wheezes and coughs. He took everything to the iceberg lounge. Better kill me before your father learns I failed. It's not my problem. If anyone has a problem now, it's also a Kawa. So that's like her. Like, again, so she's 100% done. And
Nice.
yeah, okay. So find out which superpower being.
Yeah, which I mean, I was already, very much leaning towards Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
And that dead end
So-
didn't actually confirm it.
Right, because to your point
It's
is
either
that
Ivy
she's
or
being
Scarecrow, but I
experimented
think
on,
it's
and
Ivy.
that
Yeah.
she's being experimented on, and
Right.
it's
It could be somebody infected her, but
Yeah.
it's her.
because
Yeah.
she doesn't have control over it. That
Right.
doesn't mean that they don't.
Right.
But
Um.
I still like Scarecrow as well. What do you want to do?
So
Arkham Asylum.
now that you chuckleheads have done your personals,
Yeah.
Well, wherever you go, you're gonna likely gain a clue. What's left on the table? Like 12 things?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
All right.
Coincidentally, we have 8 left.
I wonder how much more time this is gonna take.
I don't know.
About the same?
No, I think
we can
we can
decide
split
to
it.
wrap
We can-
early if we want to
we can
try to
split
end
it.
in green.
Yeah,
It might just give us a slightly better ending, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I would think that we don't want to go into the red.
not if we can help it. Yeah. So here,
So the next one needs to be a really good one, Michael. Pick
So
a
it-
good one.
for me, it would be before we flip tokens. It would be
Mhm.
here or here. For me, William might know something about her accomplice, whom I'm presuming to be Ferris, but I don't think we have another lead. Well, the other lead about Ferris is GCPD, which you'd have to flip for, right?
right.
But if we're still investigating Thorn, then we would ask about the leader at Gazette.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like going to.
I mean, our overall goal was stated as find out who's responsible for spreading the mold around the city. It's obvious that it's poison ivy.
Okay.
but
I think
but,
it's,
but
I
we
think
need to
it's,
find
I
out.
think
read
it's
your
Juan
goal
and her
again?
accomplice that
Can you
are
read your goal
responsible.
again then?
Yeah,
Since you
yeah.
put it out there?
Mine was basically the same. Find out what superpowered being is responsible for the mold.
Okay, that is not the same thing at all.
No, because I think her and her accomplice
This
are
says-
responsible, and then she's the carrier.
This says who's responsible for the mold. This says who's responsible for spreading the mold. So, if they experimented on Ivy in the thing, and then took something from her and like went to spread it, they're not working together. They're fooling her into think they're working together.
Right. Yeah. I
So
think
it's
that's
two
more.
different. So
Yeah,
this
yeah,
spreading it.
She's the cause, but
Yeah.
somebody.
So this is Thorn. I think Thorn is spreading.
You think
But-
Thorn is spreading the mold,
Yes,
or
I do.
not rather than just trying to destroy the mold?
Yeah, no, they're spreading. They're okay, if we spread the mold, it will make all the prisoners become docile or some kind of thing like that.
I don't know about that. I think that it might be more of an experiment gone out of control situation. I think that they might have been trying to enhance her powers somehow with the mold.
Right. And
And
they
yeah.
took it and were like, we've done it. And then they do something and it doesn't work the way they want, but
Yeah.
now it's spreading.
Right.
I
And
want
then
to
yours might be
read.
an accident.
Well, I want to reread aloud her conversation with Vale because I
Right,
think
do
that
it.
was telling.
Yeah.
So which one was that?
This one, I think.
Good win. Yeah, it was.
Okay, because I just want to read some things that she was saying.
Are we recapping one step too early? Whoa.
Previously on Batman.
So Vale says to her, "Listen, I know you know something about the mold, right?" And approaches her.
Yeah.
She turns around, her friendly smile disappearing from her face. "Do you still believe you can save Gotham City?" She gets up and looks you straight in the eye. "The city's beyond saving." "Are you collaborating with Poison Ivy?" Vale asks, getting straight to the point. "She's magnificent, isn't she?" says Josephine, "especially now after her powers were enhanced with the mold and shit. I only whispered a few convincing words into her ear. To do what? Gotham City must be purged," she yells, grabbing her wrist. "She'll destroy Blackgate and then Arkham. No more walls to keep me away from my son." So this is what leads me to believe that she's very intentionally behind
Oh.
the mold, because the mold is the attack on the city to
Okay.
destroy
I
the
accept that.
the walls on Blackgate and Arkham and everything else, so she can get to her son.
Yeah. Fair enough. So then what do you want to go do? Talk to her son
Yeah,
in Arkham?
yeah.
I don't think we'll gain too much from him, other than well, I think we have the time. I think might as well do it. I'm good with that. I just don't think he'll have anything to do with the plans.
Okay. True. So we can skip it if you really don't think it does anything, but then we're back to time to flip tokens.
Yeah.
Because the real leads might be in the underground or tracking down Finn from GCPD.
Yeah.
So also the way that she's saying, especially now after her powers were enhanced, I don't know that she enhanced the powers. That could still be a Thorn experiment thing. And then I think Goodwin might have come in and convinced her
to go
afterwards. Yeah. So I still think that Thorn might have been the experimenters, enhanced her powers, and then Goodwin was being more taking the opportunity.
Freeze go?
That's a good question. I think he's just chilling. He's
They're
chilling
still
up
just chilling.
there. He's giving Pipe, advice.
Yeah.
I'm just chilling. I'm a cool dude.
Remember to drip your faucets when it's below freezing.
He's talking to people about their BTUs on their air conditioning units.
Right. Mr. Freeze's TED Talks.
He's like now trying to get a carrier, and everybody's home.
All right.
I'm still okay with Arkham Asylum. I just don't know that
If we
we'll
want
gain as
more
much.
to flip, then I would go to Arkham.
I think because I'm still kind of leaning towards Thorn being the ones who might have gave her the powers to begin with
Right.
and kind of lost control of her, whatever.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
eventually the Underground, but also even the Gazette might be something to investigate. The phrasing of that one is
It's wondering about the leader at
yeah,
the Gazette.
Marcus Redding, the leader of Thorn. So if he's like a scientist or a weapons development type guy, that could maybe lead
Fanatic.
kind of solidify that
So
as the potential.
Flip them all.
No.
I mean, I think this. I think if we go to one of the two spots, if we go to Arkham,
Mhm.
we will get a clue.
Probably.
Which then allows us to flip and then go to the Gazette for free once it flips, and go to the Underground if you so choose. Right.
Mhm.
So I just think
You want to just story-wise go to Arkham?
unless you want to just go to the Gazette now,
No, we
For
can
free.
we can go to
we
Arkham.
could go to the Gazette for free and get some information.
If all were the same cost,
Actually,
what
doesn't
league-
the Gazette when it flips need a coin to flip back?
No, that one's free both sides.
Okay.
If everything were free, what do you guys like the most for, like, more time wise? I guess is what I'm getting at.
I
like following
One
Jim.
of these.
I like the kid,
Okay, yeah, following Jim.
but that's just I don't know why.
I think I'm kind of leaning
I
towards.
don't have a
that
good
as well.
answer for that.
Yeah, following the rabbit trail basically is why I'm interested in it. To maybe see what a lackey would give us
Yeah.
information wise.
I'm and as Harvey Bullock who wants to find the murderers, and you see
Yeah.
again there might be a distinction between the murderers
Right.
and the source of the mold. So
Yeah.
your guys' priorities and my priority might not be perfectly aligned.
Yeah.
Right.
But as Harvey Bullock's priorities, I think she is one of the two assailants, but I think she has an accomplice, and so for me,
Oh my!
to nail down that accomplice, it might be Finn, which I'm going to find more information about here.
My
But
priority is for us to make Batman happy.
but
'Cause
but
what-
the other possibility is maybe her accomplice is that Jim guy, right?
yeah,
That we would follow.
yeah, yeah. He is like her assistant.
Well, not her assistant.
Oh no, not her assistant.
Right,
Right,
the-
she's
the
other
Thorn
lady.
scientist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Assistant. Yeah.
Correct. For some reason, I thought they were the same. Anyway,
So
listen. You know what they say? Happy bat, happy cat.
Winterize those pipes.
Winterize those pipes, cat. Meow.
Oh gosh.
we
Can't
could,
wait to find that panel.
if we're, I think we're only going to be able to afford to flip once. So if we're ever
Probably.
going to go here or here, we need to do that before we do a flip, right?
Probably.
Or here, if we go either one, we need to do. If we want to go here or here ever, we need to do that before we flip.
Let's go to art. Unless you want to go to. Unless you want to go to Blackgate to
I guess-
to eliminate the other super being.
Well, the X is still what's intriguing me about Blackgate, because why would Thorn? I still don't know their full plans.
Yep.
In that, why would they care about bridges, or why would they care about Blackgate or anything else that's on the bridge? What's their overall plan?
If the Blackgate lead was giving us something other than Scarecrow,
Right.
I'd be fine with it. I'd be more fine with it.
Yeah.
But if we're only going to get to interrogate Scarecrow, he's going to say, he's
doesn't
going
know
to say,
anything.
dudes,
Yeah.
I've only ever made hallucinogens.
Yeah.
The mold has nothing to do with hallucinogens. It doesn't have any hallucinogenic properties. It's not an expression of a hallucinogen. It has nothing the fuck to do with me.
That's why I don't like the idea. I mean, I like the idea of the location, but I would hope that the lead gave us incidental information. It's like, on your way to Scarecrow, you see such and such.
Yeah, I
and
just
have
don't know
follow-up
that that's
leads.
going to happen.
Yeah, it's like an outside shot because of the X.
I don't think you understand Scarecrow at all. I think Scarecrow's going to say something like, "Don't be afraid to try." And they go, "Did you do this?" And he's going to say, "I'm afraid not."
Don't forget to call your mother.
Hey, if you're in trouble, have a second pair of underwear.
Okay, you want to go to Blackgate?
No, I'm just trying to make bad scarecrow puns.
I think the one I'm most interested in is following Jim.
All right.
But
To that point, that's after a flip.
Yeah.
So if you want to do something else, or if you want to do something else first, I'm okay waiting on that.
I also think that time is valuable, so
we can go here because he's probably not going to know what his mom
Right.
is up to.
let's go to Blackgate for the heck of it.
Okay, so I will.
Just because we need Scarecrow to show up.
So I will take 2 clues
Watch him be the mastermind.
Yeah.
to get
What number?
to
310.
get to get the this thingy, to spin the this thingy,
Recap.
to do the this thingy.
Remorse. Yep.
This is Bullock.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I had to
Maybe
do
that's
some bad
yeah.
Alrighty. Blackgate Penitentiary is overpopulated as usual.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
But-
already disappointed that right off the bat we're already in the penitentiary. We didn't get any flavor going into it.
as usual, but the past few days have been even worse. Poison Ivy recently broke into Arkham to break out Mr. Freeze, and those who should have been locked up in Arkham since then have been temporarily transferred here, including Jonathan Crane. You gather all your bad cop attitude, but still feel uneasy when you remember how many of the inmates are in here because of you. You'd rather not see them all face to face. The only good thing is that this mold plague hasn't reached Blackgate Island yet. Jonathan Crane is already awaiting you in the interrogation room. He's fidgeting with his cuffs and his foot nervously. So I get to read files 310A, and then I'll also get to do a read 310B. You're given access to Crane's personal belongings that were confiscated during his arrest.
1 vial of purple mushroom.
As you're getting ready to leave, this is what he wanted. As you're getting ready to leave, something catches your ear. Among the usual prison chaos, you hear something that resembles an old naval song sung by at least a dozen men. It's the Norns gang, including Harold Berenson himself, explains a prison guard who sees your amusement. I have to listen to their stupid shanties all day. Maybe they should set up a prison choir or something. They'd have to change their program. That's for sure. So we gain a clue.
Sorry, what was the file?
We're going to be 310 A and B. And then I'm going to talk to Harold Berenson.
Oh, wait, you're going to just spend money? Oh, okay.
Mr.
What's
Virtuous over there.
What's your letter there? Good cop, bad cop?
W.
W.
Yeah, but mine might actually lead to who's the killers, which is an actual useful thing.
Is it?
We'll find out.
Is it less useful than me being able to pay my rent this month? Or more useful than that?
Shackles and Chains and shackles bind my face. I'm never stepping on land again. I'm rowing, getting lashed. My name is already turned to ash. I stop at the cell where 4 Norn members sing their sad song, and as I arrive, they immediately stop. Harold Berenson? I ask with a smirk. I almost didn't recognize you without all the wigs and costumes. Orange jumpsuit suits you better, if you ask me. They don't seem to be amused by my joke as I am. Also, I continue, what a great opportunity to ask if the Norns have anything to do with the mold outbreak in the city. I know from sources that the mold contains a substance similar to the one found in Nostalgia. I was a boss, not a chemist, says Berenson. I never knew what they put in the vials. Why don't you check our lab at Crest Hill, he sputters. Or have you already razed it to the ground? Good idea, I said, turned back. Hey, I have a question too, says Berenson and comes closer to the bar. My son Jimmy, I've heard he never made it to Blackgate. Do you know what happened? Is he all right? How would I know? I frown. He was always too slick for his own good, but impulsive. He takes risky jobs when he needs cash. I hope he didn't get himself into trouble. Further leads. Examine the lab at Crest Hill Lighthouse, 312 Underground. So at least mine gave us something useful.
I like that. Yeah, yours is the best.
And here's the thing is.
Agree to disagree.
And here's the thing is I think Jimmy is maybe the
Young
guy
James?
in the video.
I think so.
Oh, right.
That could be. Yeah.
And is that the same
Jim is the guy that we want to follow. So
Jim/Jimmy?
probably
Probably same person.
Probably same person.
But are we ignoring the fact that there is a James Gordon?
Yes.
Yes.
We are. You
Yeah,
don't think that Commissioner Gordon is that guy's son?
Yeah, I don't think so. That's amazing. Yeah, what timeline is this again? No, we've had previous things about Commissioner Gordon, but he's like,
Well, didn't we
I-
have a
was he
thing
on
that said
Puerto
that
Rico
Batman was
or
gone?
something? Batman was kidnapped in the last episode.
Right, like there's something that Batman's not here, and then Batman shows up to talk to Vicky Vale.
Oh no! I mean, Batman was here at the beginning. He's the one that like assembled the crew.
Oh.
But he was going to save the civilians, and he just wanted to warn us to be careful or whatever
Okay.
when we're doing our.
Did we spend the hour
investigations.
already?
Yes,
Okay.
but not the second hour from.
We're gonna need
not-
another clue
Well,
so
that
we can
one's
go to underground.
that's a
Right. So two things. What the files are. Scarecrow's belongings. Not that big, but then the Scarecrow interview is a bit longer. The personal belongings confiscated after Jonathan Crane's arrest. Scarecrow mask, rubber gloves, 3 empty vials, a drop glass, and the most intriguing thing, a cell phone with one unread message, date 4/21, hour 11:04 a.m. At your front door, you'll find a small gift. Plant Girl got the same. Just do what you do best. It's all up to you. Have fun. So he is involved somehow.
It's his plant girl.
Plant Girl.
I wonder who that would be.
Right.
That's poison ivy.
That's too easy. It's got to be something more.
And
A girl who is a plant.
well,
Somebody who is. Never mind.
And-
I'm not gonna-
Are the Wonder Twins DC property?
they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then could it be her?
Could it be her?
no,
Form of.
she's
an animal.
yeah, she's always
that's
an
right.
yeah.
It's Animal
Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah, she's always some animal thing.
Well, you could go to the Gazette.
Well, we've got an interview.
Her,
with
her
Craig.
we got
brother
an
is
interview.
far more powerful because he can be not just he can be water or ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you-
man,
So he
I
can
miss
be
her for
he can be an
his love.
inanimate solid or an inanimate liquid.
Yeah, you say that, but he could become an ice chair and fly underneath an airplane, and somebody could sit in him. So watch it.
Oh my God.
And they have a monkey.
I can't wait for the film adaptation.
You know, the thing is they had a Wonder Twins film adaptation
In the
that
works.
they,
Yeah.
that they bailed on, but
That
the pe-
actually would have been
the
fun.
people that were involved in it were like good actors. So it makes me hope that maybe James Gunn with the Wonder Twins might be amazing.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Might be like it's quirky enough and far enough out there that he could do a lot of really good with it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So the crane interview, which is kind of the reason that we went to that. Although I feel like we got what we actually wanted from there. This is probably
we
just
get
fluff.
information from.
That's what we said we wanted. But,
Garrett was right about the.
I just wanted-
yeah, it was, and it helped with your investigation.
I just wanted to flip it and get a token
I
that
didn't
would be
expect
there so that we could do two. Oh, wait a minute.
We're token short. Yeah.
I wonder why.
Look, that was bad timing on your guys' part.
Another interrogation, he asks. I've already told you everything. I was conducting experiments. Experiments, not murders. All my subjects gave their full consent to take part in them. You roll your eyes. Yeah, sure, but that's not why I'm here. You sit down and look him straight in the eyes. What were you doing at the factory today? Why? Are you trying to connect me to whatever happened there? Your fear of any science you don't understand is pathetic. Funny that you've mentioned fear. You reach into your pocket and take out an evidence bag. You put a small bottle with green gas inside the table. With green gas inside on the table. Crane gulps. You recognize it? You ask. It's one of your experimental fear toxins we found at your house back in November. Judging from your reaction, even you would rather not breathe it in. So tell me, Crane, what were you doing at the factory? I have nothing to do with whatever is going on in the city. Last night around 1 a.m., I heard noises outside my lab door, shattered glass, and someone cursing. I assumed it was just a drunk, but a few minutes later I saw someone trying to force their way into the lab. I opened the door and saw purple mold growing larger and larger, and pieces of a shattered test tube. Soon it started to destroy my lab. I tried to contain it somehow, but it was like nothing I'd seen before. I then heard my neighbors talking about something going on at the factory, that it was being overgrown by something. I needed to see it with my own eyes to see if it had anything in common with what happened at my front door. But you didn't even manage to get there because you were caught by a routine police patrol. Am I right? His embarrassed expression tells you everything. You're a psychologist, but you also know something about chemistry. Am I correct? You continue. Do you have any suspicions about what might have happened at the factory? You lived nearby, and maybe you observed something? I have nothing to do with that place, he adds. The factory's boss, Jeff Sickler, is a madman, and I've never even spoken to him. He gulps again and stares at you with his wide eyes. Then, before you even blink, he grabs the bottle and smashes it against the table. You rush out of the room immediately, but Crane, cuffed to the table, inhales the fear toxin and soon starts spasming and screaming in terror. Well, that's one way to wiggle out of an investigation, you say to yourself as confused guards try to calm Crane down.
Now, don't people realize by now that Scarecrow is addicted to his own fear toxin?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
So, is the lighthouse our current best, or
It's the lighthouse or Jim.
I think it would be Jim, but we
Yeah.
need to flip first. So before we can flip, don't we have to go to like the Gazette, or do we?
I mean, we
have to
can
do
flip
downtown?
and then go to the Gazette because the Gazette's free either way. It doesn't matter. We still need three tokens on the table.
exactly. We need.
So we need to go to somewhere free. The other thing that we could do, though it's a very terrible idea, is just move the coin one ahead and get 2 free tokens.
How do we do that?
Oh, is that an option?
Yeah.
Oh, you can just spend an hour and get 2 clues?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Interesting.
I think that's what it said too. I'll double check.
The Gazette is we can interview someone from Thorn, or investigate someone from Thorn, the leader of Thorn.
Right.
That would still be. The 2 free ones, I'm okay with either of the free ones, and both of them
What was
should.
the other one?
The other one is City Hall to try to look into Goodwin's conflict. So I
Nah.
feel like that could give us information about, like, what. Let me reread.
I think
let's
her motivation right now is to get her son out of Arkham, be reunited with her son, right?
Yeah, but the phrasing on this one is ask Vicky to find more information about Goodwin's conflict with the factory. So, so there might be a little bit more involved, but yeah, I think her main motive is
Yeah, I think her conflict with the factory will turn out to be that is like she's not
She may have had an environmental concern with the factory, but that's not her primary, driving motivation right now. So that's
Right.
really like ancillary. That's a red herring. But it is the excuse that she was given poison ivy to get involved.
I agree
right?
with that. Yeah, I agree.
It's
with
just
that.
like poison ivy. You need to help me because of this environmental shit going down at Sickle Inc. that you didn't know about that I'm bringing to your attention.
Yeah.
But that's not what she was really.
And I think she kind of threw Cobblepot under the bus for that too. Like, he
Right.
owns the factory.
Right.
Go get him.
Right. But she just really wanted Ivy to spread the mold throughout the city to create the chaos and opportunities necessary
She
So-
wanted to break her son out.
so she could break her son out. Right.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So I'm less interested in that lead. I'm more interested in the Gazette thing, if I had to choose.
Yeah. I'm good with the Gazette because that's trying to look into Thorne's boss, and that might give some more backstory because I don't
Let's
know
do that.
what their master plan is.
318.
318.
We haven't moved this blimp in a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and move it.
Nice. And we are at 10.
I swear Val reads more of the shit than the rest of us.
Well, she is sort of the de facto leader of this group.
The most legit on the team, probably.
I'm a fucking police officer with a badge.
Yeah, but you're Harvey Bullock.
Disgraced.
You're Harvey Bullock, and sometimes you
I mean, I'm
like
a bit dirty.
even when he's at his best,
A bit
he's
dirty.
basically just ignoring the other police and doing what Batman asks.
When Bullock asks you to find more information on Marcus Redding, the first person who comes to mind is Sophie Rawlings from the Washington Gazette. She specializes in critiquing the government and federal agencies, and she may have the answers you're looking for. Does the name Marcus Redding sound familiar? You ask when she finally picks up the phone. He's a member of some shady federal agency working for the Army. I'd like to tell you more, but there's almost no information about him. Any articles with his name that appear online are immediately removed. I'm pretty sure our archives won't help either. Actually, this is more of a conspiracy theory. I'll send you the number of Brian Cabrini. I think he's the guy you need. You dial the number Rawlings gave you. After 3 attempts, someone finally answers. I know you, he says before you manage to say hello. You're Vicky Vale from the Gotham City Gazette. If you want to contact me, install the encryption app I'm sending you. Otherwise, don't call me back. He hangs up and you do what he says, though the Gazette's IT specialists would be having a fit if you knew that you were doing something with your work phone. So you want to know more about Marcus Redding from the Thorne Agency? Says Cabrini. Redding's a military engineer. The guy is good at hiding his activities, but I'm even better at digging them up. It's unclear when he took over the leadership of Thorne, but I know he's spent most of the last few years abroad, mostly in Asia, South America, and Antarctica, where he was testing new kinds of weapons and defense systems. The world is basically his playground. The guy is absolutely insane. What I'm certain about is that after he joined Thorne, the agency's methods became even more ruthless than before. Do you know what he's working on now, you ask? No, but it must be something big. He left Washington
I
a
can
few
tell
days
you,
ago.
he's
Yeah.
working on Flora warfare.
Yeah, exactly. He left Washington a few days ago with a majority of Thorne's research team, including their head scientist.
Oh no! I got a better name for it.
Yes.
The term I just remember the term. Botanical warfare.
There you go. Nice. Botanical
yeah.
warfare. Yeah.
He's heading up research into
Division of botanical
the
warfare.
development of botanical warfare.
Nice. And do you know if they've ever done any research in Gotham City? Gotham City. Wait, here it is. Yes, they used to collaborate on something with Wayne Enterprises, but it was 15 years ago. Whatever it was, it's now probably long forgotten. All right, time's up. The app only lets us speak for 1 minute. It'll uninstall itself once you hang up. Gain 1 clue. And we have 2 further leads. Learn more about Thorne's recent missions around the world, 317 Gotham City Gazette, or try to contact Catwoman. She may know how to get confidential information on Thorne in the Batcave.
Oh.
That's where Batman lives.
No, or
Yeah.
That's his office.
Isn't that where he sleeps upside down? I don't know. I don't know how these things work.
So here's the thing: we can now afford to flip everything, but are we going to go to the Batcave before we do?
It's confidential information on Thorn. I feel like that's like the only thing that I think that we might need to know for the final investigation is maybe just a little bit more about their motives.
I think their motives are. I don't think they have specific motives in Gotham other than as a testing ground.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's botanical warfare, so I think they were experimenting on Ivy with their powers.
Yeah.
They may or may not be the source of the mold infection, right? I'm still not sold on that, but I think they are trying definitely to figure out some way to weaponize her powers for themselves, replicate her powers for themselves in order to weaponize them in a new form of warfare, botanical warfare. I'm trademarking that term if it hasn't been trademarked already, botanical warfare.
I feel like it's been out there.
I still think that they might be the source of it.
You think maybe we have in the past secretly dropped seedlings on Russia with invasive plant species?
Kudzu.
Well, there is a thing called mustard gas. And that is
That's chemical warfare.
That's botanical mustard. It's a flower.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
Whatever we do, we're going to be getting into the yellow. I think I'd be okay going yellow.
Yeah.
I mean, we could also just try. We could try answering now.
We could give it a shot.
I feel like with multiple choice.
Well, what's our at most 2 items to do?
Well,
One plus whatever it presents to us, or
we could follow Jim, but then we're out of clues.
Yeah, the downside is I like following Jim or I like Batcave, but we can't do both because we don't have enough clues.
Right. The other thing besides following Jim is the other thing having to do with Jimmy.
yeah,
Right.
Which
it
is
was
what?
mentioned.
your lady's somebody's son. No,
Arkham Asylum is
Arkham
William.
Asylum.
That's William.
but
But
there's
the,
another
they
Jimmy
mentioned-
lead.
Somebody
I
said
don't know that it's. I don't know that it's the
that
lead.
Jim
They
is
just
always
talked
getting
about
getting himself in trouble,
Yeah, Jimmy, but
Jimmy.
Did you give us a lead?
and we assumed they were the same. Somebody,
Yeah.
it's somebody's.
Hey, I have a question for you too, says Brenson as he comes closer to the bars. My son Jimmy, I've heard he never
Yeah.
made it to Blackgate. Do you know what happened? Is he all right? How would I know? You frown. He was always too sick for his own good. He was always too sick for his own good, but impulsive. Takes risky jobs when he needs cash. I hope he didn't get himself into trouble. The only lead we have is examine the lab at the Crest Hill Lighthouse.
That was it. So it's either follow
They were
Jim.
just talking about.
It's either follow Jim or examine that lab, because I think that lab is where the mold chip may have been developed using all of this stuff that was taken.
Right.
Right. And here's the thing.
And it might always give us the identities of
we
the
definitely can't do
perpetrators.
both of those because that is a total of 4,
Yeah.
5,
Yeah.
6,
Yeah,
7.
because that's underground.
That's a total of 7 because it's being at the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we would have to choose, but we will get 1 token for sure wherever we go next.
Right. Yeah.
So, but that would leave us 1 token because we'll spend 2 tokens unless there's a GCPD or downtown or
Let's-
City Hall.
Let's
What?
just follow Jim.
I either following him or going to the
The lab.
lab,
Let's just
but
follow
we're not gonna
Jim.
be able to do both.
We can just follow Jim.
It's hard to know where in the storyline the information comes
Right.
Right.
because we're getting like, for example, we saw
We
both sides of the Ivy story, but out of order.
Right. We follow Jim. He goes gets a burger,
Yeah.
goes to the park for a little while, gets some ice cream,
Yeah.
turns in early, takes a nap, watches some TV.
Right.
No,
right.
he
That's-
goes. That's not what's gonna happen. He goes. He drops a piece of paper and gets in a cab and speeds away. But before we can find out, we go and pick up that piece of paper, and it says, "Lighthouse, secret lab."
Right. I mean, on the face of it,
I say this
We're
is
guaranteed-
the one coin to flip everything.
on the face of it, we have a greater chance of material evidence at the lab. We have a greater chance of interrogation testimony following Jim, or incriminating activity following Jim, right?
Right.
Seeing
right.
what he's
all
up
right,
to and doing.
let's follow him.
All right. Follow Jim.
Yeah, flip it all.
Yeah. So
Let's Vicky Vale that board.
spend one to flip everything back.
Let's use our informant to get us into the underground,
And that is Jim 309.
which then flips the underground. So now we're back to 3 to get into the underground.
And that is.
If it's not available, let me read it.
Yeah. It's Bullock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I gave you 3, Joe. I gave you the wrong one. What am I
Tease.
supposed to look?
Tease.
Right? Which I just erased it. It's the follow Jim 309 underground. It's spacey. I'll still let you read it though. Yeah, because it's not available.
You take the cab to the Canning Cat Inn in Old Gotham. It's one of Penguin's nightclubs. But while he's trapped in the Iceberg Lounge with most of his men, members of other gangs are feeling confident enough to show up here. You relax in front of the club and observe Jim as he walks inside and starts talking to some girls. Out of the corner of your eye, you see that he's being observed by someone else, too. A muscular man in a leather jacket stands a few steps away from you and speaks into the mic attached to his collar. So this would be a Thorn agent, probably. Jimmy Berenson has arrived at the Cat Inn. He's probably just going to party all night. Why do I always get the boring jobs? As you look closer, you see a tiny thorn emblem on the pocket of his shirt. You approach him. Sorry, you said? But it was me who was supposed to watch over Jimmy Berenson tonight. Marcus Brenning's orders. Oh, really? Says the man. Are you Frank, the new guy? Nod. Yeah, didn't even have time to be fitted for a jacket. Said, pointing to the emblem. Thank heavens. Someone probably messed up a schedule again. He's asking for leave. Anything I should know? I asked. Nah. After Jimmy informed us about what Finn was doing behind Thorne's backs all these years. Okay, I was right about the Finn connection. We thought that maybe he'd be useful in other ways too, but, well, the boss still believes that he'll lead us to some interesting information. That's why he's letting him live for now. All right. Good night, then. He nods and walks away.
Ask who the boss is.
You walk into the club and look for Jimmy. He's sitting at the bar ordering something expensive from the top shelf. Before you're able to approach him, he's surrounded by 4 men who don't look like they're interested in drinking. One of them has a tattoo of a black and blue N on his neck, so that would be a Norn tattoo. You were supposed to be in prison together with your father and half the gang. Mm-hmm. If you walk freely, that means only one thing. He grabs Jimmy by his collar. You collaborated with the cops, or the smarmy agents in black suits. What? No, I swear, cries Jimmy. They didn't have enough evidence on me, that's all. Yeah, right. You were in charge of the Norns dealers. You knew everything about the production and distribution of nostalgia. What did you tell them, huh? Nothing, I swear. Lies. Finn has to hide because of you. If they find him, his blood will be on your hands. The tattooed man pushes Jimmy back on the stool and walks away, followed by his companions. Jimmy finishes off his glass in one gulp and leaves the club. You follow him out and end up at the last place you'd expect, a small church 1 street away. You follow inside and see him walking into an empty confession booth. So we gain a clue, and we could spend a Spacey token to read a Spacey personal goal, but we might not choose to do that.
Not interested.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing: is I'm pretty sure she's the chick in the video, and then the guy in the video is either Jimmy or Finn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Jimmy ratted out Finn to Thorn because basically
Right.
Finn was developing nostalgia using Thorn research behind Thorn's back, right? Is what that implies. So Finn had a connection to Thorn, but he betrayed them, went off on his own thing, developed nostalgia. So then now, and Jimmy, ratted on that. So now, and Jimmy's always looking to do anything for a buck.
Right.
So that's why he ratted, right?
Yeah.
So did she take advantage of Jimmy
I think so.
as her accomplice to just be like, I'm paying you some money, help me get this shit,
Yeah.
and Finn's still in the wind? Or was it her and Finn?
I'm still.
I can see it either way.
I still think that it might have been Thorn that powered Ivy up, but your summary that at least gives them the reason to break into the lab and murder, because I don't see why. What I'm thinking is that Thorn powered up Ivy. I don't see why the murder would have taken place.
All right, I have a question before we keep this going. Are we going to go into the red?
I don't.
Because if we're not going into the red, there's no way to get a clue without doing something.
Right.
So this is the end,
we can
where we are right now.
We can go to the Gazette or City Hall, which those leads would be. I've Thorn missions, what Thorn's missions were around the world, or City Hall, Goodwin's conflict.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So if we're not going to do one of those two things, then these things that we're doing, some of this can be inferred by the questions.
Right. Yeah.
So I think we can do some of our discussion
Yeah.
around the
Might-
questions when
Yeah,
we're
it
ready.
might just be question time.
Well, I think that we select green, yellow, or red. I think that we could do. I think
We could do
follow
one more
lead.
free.
Yeah, one more free.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to
That gives us
get
another
but,
clue, and then we can. Oh shit!
So,
And doesn't
wait a
matter.
minute. We can go to GCPD for free,
Yeah, that's what he just said.
which we
We can also go to the
we
Gazette.
investigate Finn.
Finn.
Never mind.
All right.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is the third option.
All right, let's
yeah.
do that then.
Yeah, that's useful.
Yeah, 311.
Finn. That's a Bullock.
Better be. Yes, it is.
Nice.
Huh.
You go to the GCPD archives and dig out a very thin file labeled Finn Harris. So we've got files 311A and we will have 311B. And we will be gaining a clue.
Okay. We already spent this time.
You walk up to Jack Nettles' office. He's busy watching a football match on his phone under his desk, but kindly finds the time to talk to you. Finn Harris? He frowns when I ask him about the name. That science nerd? Yeah, I remember him. He was smart, one of the top students at Gotham City University. Excelled in both biology and chemistry. So that's key. Because biology has to do with plants also.
Yeah, it does.
He was offered a job before he graduated for some famous scientist, Andrea Arliss. She was doing research here 15 years ago. He could have been someone, you know. Instead, he chose to work for the Norns after Arliss returned to Washington. He shakes his head slowly. I arrested him a couple times, mostly because he was accidentally ratted out by that idiot Jimmy Berenson, Harold's son and drug dealer, who was constantly under arrest. We never got enough evidence on Finn, though, says Nettles. You know that by saying that, he means that he received generous bribes from Harold Berenson to keep his people out of prison. Did we arrest Harris during the Norn bust this month? I try to remember. Nah. He probably bolted just in time. He's smarter than most of that gang. I returned to my desk and called City Hall to learn more about Andrea Alice's research in Gotham City. There's not much information on that project, unfortunately, says the clerk on the other side of the line. From what our database says, it was confidential. And where did it take place? I asked. Any research station, lab? It's written here that they occupied the Crest Hill Lighthouse and a cave in the rock beneath it.
Yeah.
They abandoned it in about 15 years ago. That's all. So the further leads would be we can examine the lab, and the Crest Hill Lighthouse would be 312, which would
Same lead.
or find out more information about Andrea Arliss,
Yeah.
316 GCPD headquarters. Are you ready to do an answer time?
I
Well,
think
we
so.
got a little bit of
Yeah.
information here.
I think that Jimmy might be the one from the security camera footage. Jimmy Berenson.
Do we have a picture of him?
Yeah, it's not colorized, but I think that it's him.
Okay.
The other downside is in the one the guy's wearing a mask, but I think it's the same hair. Without it being colorized, it can't, not 100%, but I think it's him.
I can tell you if I see it.
Son of notorious Norn's gang leader Harold Berenson, cause of arrest suspected of the distribution of narcotics, and that's
Yeah, it's him.
And then That's what I
Eyewitness.
said.
Eyewitness puts him at the spot.
yep. And then the other one is just Finn's rap sheet. That's pretty short too.
So I think it's Jimmy and Goodwin that did the murders.
Suspected of producing illegal substances for the use of narcotics used in distribution. The suspect was cleared of charges. So, all right. Final report. You meet at the Dixon docks again. It's obvious Bats didn't want us to interfere, says Catwoman, but he might be surprised to see what we've found. Are you ready to finish the episode and answer these questions?
Yes.
Who is responsible for initiating the mold outbreak in Gotham City? Poison Ivy, Thorn Agents, the Scarecrow, the Sickle Ink Factory, or the Penguin?
What are the choices again?
Poison Ivy, Thorn Agents.
Wait. Poison Ivy. Thorn. Sickle Ink, right?
Yeah.
And who else?
Scarecrow
It's not Scarecrow.
and Penguin.
And it's not Penguin. So, and we have to answer that before we can answer any other questions?
Yeah. I don't know if it'll give us a back button. Right now I only see a
Okay.
continue button.
So, none of these are my primary options.
For initiating the outbreak.
Yeah. Mine is kind of Thorn. Like, I think that Thorn might be the one that powered
I think
Ivy up.
I think it's Sickle Ink.
I have to do one or the other, right?
Yeah, can't do.
I mean,
it's
maybe
not multiple choice.
it's Thorn. I don't think it's Poison Ivy because she doesn't want the mold in her things.
Well, unless it's her, even though she's not the one who, she's not the ultimate cause, but she could be the one that. I don't know. I don't know.
I wouldn't put the blame of the outbreak on her. She's the
Yeah.
transmission vector, but I wouldn't put the blame of the outbreak on her.
Yeah.
We might be overthinking it again because I think we did that last time.
Right.
But you think it could be Thorn, right? Like Thorn intentionally experimenting, right?
Right.
Or, but here's my thing with Sickle Ink is that's kind of where it started. Then it spread through the sewers to Penguin, right?
So
well, we don't know.
I don't
that to
think
be
it
true.
did.
no, I think
We
I
know
think
that
it
those
did.
were the
I-
concentrated areas.
Well, and
Well,
I don't think
well-
that it spread. I think that there was just sewers that connected the two.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying is Croc was like that mold drove me out of the sewers, and when we followed the sewers, we got to the basement of
Right, so it could be the other way around. It could be that it started at the and went through the sewers that
Well,
way.
I think we were told evidence-wise that
It went to
time-wise that it started that
Oh, right.
that it occurred at Sickle before it occurred
I agree with that. Yeah.
at the Iceberg Lab.
Yeah.
So I think it started at Sickle, spread
but I
through the
think-
sewers to Iceberg.
I don't know that it started there though. I would think that it might have only appeared when Ivy attacked Sickle and then attacked the Iceberg Lounge. Like I don't know that it spread other than through the folks who left the
So
thing for
then-
Scarecrow.
so-
Like I do think that someone left a package for Scarecrow and for the Ivy girl or the plant girl. I think that was Thorn.
And said,
But that
"Do
would've
what you
been
do
enough.
best," which is just basically so
Spread
chaos.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Um,
So I think that Thorn might have done that.
Well, here's the thing: is if there was if there was a package left at both places, Ivy was already working with Thorn at that time, or already was a part of Thorn at that time, right?
Was she might have been.
yeah, so I think the
So-
packages were probably left by
Another
these
party?
two that
Yes.
that
Okay.
did this shit here.
Okay.
Because they are the ones that wanted to spread chaos through the city because it's through that chaos that she was going to be able to get access to her son, right?
Well,
Gotcha.
then I would
Okay.
think, why is Scarecrow not spreading stuff from Sickle?
Well, Scarecrow received a package, but then he said he didn't do anything with the package, right? But
it was preventing him from getting in his lab and stuff like that. Like it messed up his lab with the mold. ones.
but he didn't go and do anything with it.
right. Yeah.
Right. So the note was, go do what you do best, which is spread chaos. But
And
he didn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead, he just got himself arrested
Yeah.
pretty immediately.
Right.
Whereas Ivy, she opens the package. It's a botanical infection of some kind. It infects her and her powers, and now all of a sudden she's spreading the mold along with her vines, right?
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but who sent the package?
Right.
To Don's point, Thorn didn't need to introduce that to her and to Scarecrow. They were only interested in experimenting on her, so there was no reason for them to involve Scarecrow, and there was no reason why they would need to send an anonymous package to Ivy when they're already collaborating with her on like experimentation anyway.
Well,
Yeah,
remember
that's true.
when Sickle said we're gonna double our production no matter what?
Right.
So they also could be inadvertently. So then this list is all people inadvertently producing stuff. Oof.
Well, then the obvious answer becomes Poison Ivy because she's the transmission vector.
Who's the? All
But
right.
it- but
Who's
it's
the guy?
initiating.
Who's the guy in charge of Sickle that, or the
I
office we broke into?
don't remember his name.
It's a Catwoman, I believe.
I wanted different choices.
I know, right?
I know. I agree with you on this.
See, I think a follow-up question might be
Oh, was it in my
which
letter?
which
No.
superpowered individual is
Well, that's
connected
my
to blah, blah.
personal kind of.
Right. So I think Poison Ivy might be an answer to another question,
Yeah.
either main question or personal question, but that means she doesn't need to be the answer to the first question also. Mitigating it, like if you want distinct answers for these questions.
think she's already the answer to a different question.
Or maybe it was Vicky.
When you arrive at the factory, it
Yeah.
looks as bad as the Iceberg Lounge, maybe even worse. It's covered in mold and vines. That means poison ivy was here too. You find the vines, the only available window in sight, and climb in. The office of Jeff Sickle, the factory's boss, is
Oh.
locked.
So it's Jeff
thin,
Sickle.
thin layer of dust on the furniture. A framed photo from an office party with the caption sits on the desk. December, celebrating Josephine Goodwin's resignation from City Council. Finally, handwritten note. Katie, tell the PR team to raise a statement about our safety measures to shut these protesters up. We'll double our production. I don't care what the mob has to say. If they don't like the smell of our dyes, they should move to another district. Also remind them of how many jobs we brought to the Narrows. And then Croc started doing his thing.
Okay, I will vote. I will vote for one.
Yeah, I mean, I think Thorn.
Their botanical weapon research.
Alright, let's do it.
Why did Poison Ivy betray Goodwin? Goodwin wanted to destroy Arkham. Goodwin cooperated with the Sickle Inc. management. Goodwin demanded to free the Penguin. Interesting. Goodwin wanted to destroy Arkham.
Yes.
I mean, we know that's true, but would Poison Ivy say no to that? I think that she'd be neutral towards that.
No, she might be opposed to that because she's not really. She's unlike the unlike the HBO cartoon or animated Harley Quinn
Harley Quinn, yeah.
Harley Quinn series. Poison Ivy canonically is not really like pro other villains.
We do have a previous, by the way. So I don't know. The last one may not let us go back, but at least it looks like after I select anything, we can go back to the previous. So we're not permanently locked in. I think it might be the Goodwin cooperated with the Sickle Inc. management because I think Ivy was more about anti-Penguin at the time, and the pollution that Sickle Inc. was doing. And I think if she found that Goodwin was with Sickle Inc., that
But
might
I don't
cause a
think
rift.
Goodwin ever did cooperate with Sickling, because I think what they did is they celebrated her resignation from the council because she was a strong voice against.
against
Them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I think Goodwin was an opponent of Sickle. So I don't think she ever then turned around and cooperated with Sickle.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's the lead we didn't follow. Ask Vicky to find more information about Goodwin's conflict with the factory. Yeah.
So I think it is probably just Arkham. Like
Yeah.
she just balked
Definitely.
at the whole, breaking in or tearing down the walls of Arkham kind of
That could
thing.
be. Yeah. Yeah, because Goodwin demanded to free the Penguin. I don't think she was demanding that at all. I don't
think Goodwin had any interest in Penguin. But right, and so Ivy is anti-Penguin, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's anti-Penguin. Why would she be pro the release of other individuals that are incarcerated in Arkham that she also probably considers to be problematic men?
True. Yeah. I'm good with the top one. Any other thoughts on that one, Don?
Well, I mean, she does say that treacherous witch, she should have freed William just as she promised. Everything would be all right, and that would have been destroying Arkham.
Which apparently Ivy
And I refused to do.
Yeah.
So I would go with that.
How was that phrased?
Goodwin wanted to destroy Arkham. How did Thorne know about the mold? The options are: they were contacted by Jeff Sickle. They previously cooperated with Finn Harris.
or it was Poison Ivy's scheme.
It wasn't her scheme. She's
think
anti-magic.
They
it's
worked
the middle.
with Finn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole Finn thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to move on to Catwoman to answer a personal goal question? If
Sure.
you click on it, it won't be possible to return to the previous question.
Oh.
I think.
Read the third question again.
How did Thorne know about the mold?
That the way that's phrased, it almost sounds like they're not the original of the mold.
Yes.
So what were the options?
They were contacted by Jeff Sickle. They previously cooperated with Finn Harris. It was Poison Ivy's scheme.
Maybe Thorne's not bad guys. They're like good guys, but they're the aggressive version of the good guys. So they're still they're that anti-hero type.
But then that leads back to the first one. I don't think
We'll go back to the
Poison Ivy. I don't think Poison Ivy was the initiator of the mold.
Well, then it would probably be
Sickle.
Sickle if it were this. But I don't think that. I mean, I think Sickle was polluting like crazy. But
is it
I
their
don't think they
pollution
were-
that caused the mold?
I don't think so. Like I thought that the mold was more related to the drugs, right?
That
Yeah.
question
Not just pollution.
that question would imply that they did not initiate it.
Yeah.
Because if one of the answers is not they created it, then they didn't create it.
Well, but the middle answer I think is that they created it. Basically, they previously cooperated with Finn Harris. Like
So
I
maybe
think
it's
that
how did they
is-
know about the? Maybe it's intentionally obscure question to
I
not
think
give
so.
away the
Okay.
answer to the first one.
That's what
They're
I
like,
think.
in other words, rephrased. How did they know how to create the mold?
Okay.
Because they.
Right. Like I'm okay getting outvoted, but I think that locking in on the second one is.
All right.
I'm
okay
fine.
with the conflict
We-
on that.
We'll just asterisk this one when Garrett's gone.
When Vicky Vale fails us all.
All right, so personal time.
Personal time.
All right.
Okay.
Let me answer some personal questions.
Okay.
Perfect. I don't like to hiss and tail. Okay.
So this is
Remember to clean out your lint traps from your washing machine.
personal Catwoman, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to move on to Harvey Bullock?
Oh, wait a minute. You don't tell us the question or the
It
answer?
just asked me how I got in, and
Oh.
I said with
Poison Ivy's
help.
Nice.
Sorry, it was a simple question.
Yeah.
Who killed the forensic science technicians?
Yours might be the hardest. I hope that the duo that we were thinking is listed.
Mine was like
So
Batman's GPS or some other. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
no. So my duo is not. So
Really?
my choices are Redden and Poison Ivy, which I don't believe it is. Harris and Josephine Goodwin, which it could very well have been. If it's not, but we thought it was Jimmy, right?
I thought it was Jimmy based on his picture.
So another answer is Andrea Arliss and Jimmy Berenson. We don't
I would-
have a picture of Andrea Arliss.
I would think that one because I'm pretty sure it's Jimmy.
Or Marcus Redding and Andrea Arliss, but it's probably Jimmy,
Let
right?
me see. One of the most recent ones, 316. Let me just see how they mentioned Andrea, since we don't really know much about her.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the Jimmy Andrea one. But it's you definitely get the only say in that one. Andrea.
I really thought it was Goodwin, but I guess I could be wrong on that.
Look for 316. There you go. Andrea. Okay, so rereading this one.
So there's Finn Harris. Friends when you ask him about that name. The science nerd, yeah, I remember him. He was smart, one of the top students at Gotham University. And we know it's not Finn because Finn's a black dude. Finn actually looks like, I had to look at this photo because they could be father-son potentially. He looks like an older version with facial hair.
Okay.
So definitely not the guy in the video, and we
Okay.
can look it up if we care.
Okay, so
But,
not Finn and
definitely
Goodwin.
not Finn.
Finn and Goodwin. Okay, because that was my other meaning. Yeah.
He was smart, one of the top scientists at Gotham City University. He was offered a job for some famous scientist, Andrea Arliss. She was doing research here 15 years ago. He could have been someone else. Instead, he chose to work for the Norms after Arliss returned to Washington. Arliss did a couple times, blah, blah, blah. So she was just doing research. Yeah,
But that was research in Press Hill Lab 15 years ago. So I'm on board with that because that means that Finn Harris's work is a derivative.
Confidential.
That means that Finn Harris's work on nostalgia is derivative of her work. So that's why there's a commonality between the mold and nostalgia.
Right. And Arliss, her work was confidential.
Right.
And she went to Washington, so she might have been.
So
Black
Andrea
Ops.
came back, got Jimmy involved. They go and they get this equipment by which she can continue or finish her experiment that she was doing 15 years ago.
Right, I think so.
So you were 100% sure it was Jimmy.
Yes.
So I'm going to do Andrea and Jimmy,
Okay.
even though we don't really know what Andrea looks like because Garrett was saying it can't be her and Finn because Finn is a black guy and the guy in the video is not a black guy.
Racial profile.
Right.
It is. Alrighty. And I mean, yeah, and I don't think it's like Redding and Arliss or something like that. So, and I know it's not Poison Ivy. Okay, so then continue.
Right, yeah.
You want to
it's
move on to
definitely
Vicky Vale?
Yeah.
Okay.
How are Poison Ivy and the Scarecrow involved in the mold outbreak? What were their plans and motivations? The outbreak was initiated by one of them to take revenge on Gotham City. I don't think so. The Scarecrow's experiment went wrong. I don't think so. Poison Ivy is trying to deal with the consequences. One of them was tricked by Thorn agents into spreading the mold around the city by attacking certain locations.
Probably.
I mean, kind of, but I feel like it was more
Her,
she
yeah.
was giving some.
Yeah, she was the
locations.
one.
Well, unless
Maybe she is a form.
unless actually, she wanted to talk her into destroying Arkham, right? But maybe she didn't talk her into the Penguin. Maybe the Penguin was Thorn agents to begin with. I don't remember where we would have gotten.
I do think it's a whole Ivy tricked thing, and so if that's the
Yeah.
only Ivy tricked option.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I think maybe it was tricked by Thorn, not her.
Well, then Thorn would be foreign agents.
Well, and Thorn. I mean, I still think that's.
What were your
other
other options?
The outbreak was initiated by one of them to take revenge on Gotham City. I don't think either of them initiated it. The Scarecrow's experiment went wrong, and Poison Ivy is trying to deal with the consequences. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But one of them was tricked by Thorn agents into spreading the mold around the city by attacking certain locations. Maybe there's a division in Thorn. But Thorn seemed against Ivy at the lounge, at least. Like they were trying to. I mean, they were partially experimenting, but they were trying to gain control of the situation.
Yeah, I'm not going to write it down until you tell me what you're going to choose.
I think I will do that one.
Okay.
Maybe rogue agents.
I mean, I really thought she was being tricked by what's her name, because she's the one that said that she spoke certain words to Ivy about Sickle,
Right, that's what I'm
and
trying to find.
and that Sickle led back to Penguin, right?
Yeah.
So all the evidence we have is that she's the one that got Ivy turned against Sickle and Penguin, but we don't have any evidence that Goodwin has any connection to Thorn.
Right.
So, good luck.
Yeah.
Unless, wait a minute, how's it phrased?
Here. I'm still looking at. I'm trying to find the one where
How
we
was
spoke
Poison
to
Ivy and the
Goodwin.
Scarecrow involved in the mold outbreak? What were their plans and motivations? It might be the top one because it might just literally be Ivy taking revenge on Penguin and Sickle, and they're saying that that's revenge on Gotham City in a in a roundabout way.
Could be. Yeah, where they're trying to.
But I still think she was tricked. We talked to Scarecrow. We really don't have any reason to believe that Scarecrow had an experiment that went wrong.
No.
No, you just tell me which one you pick. It's your personal mission.
Right.
I mean, where was your one personal thing that you took? You should reread that one. Remember, you took a letter.
Yeah.
So there should be some tiny bits of information possible that might help you.
You can see the frustration in Ivy's body language. She immediately gets ready to attack him. Can't see him trying to stop it. She yells, "Leave me alone. And let me help you." Batman responds, "This is none of your business. I don't need your help." Are you responsible for this? He points at the mold covering the street. The question makes her green skin almost pink from anger. Of course not. This is fungi. It's beyond my control. She jumps and several vines shoot towards Batman. Yeah, and that's it.
So
It's her claiming that it's not her fault, sort of thing.
which implies that she was tricked.
I think the tricked, yeah. I can't find the other one, but that's okay. I'm gonna lock in the Thorn agents.
Okay.
We were on yellow. Save. Comparison. Your answer is correct. Number 1, 2, and 3. Our answers are all correct. So Vicky Vale gets all the credit. The 67% of playgroups selected a correct answer to question 1, 65% to question 2, and 92% to question 3. So I guess everybody was pretty sure about Finn, which makes sense because that's the one in the video at least. So
Right.
that's the easiest to rule some other ones out.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, scrolling up. We have a short version, long version. This is the long version. Okay. Around 15 years ago, a secret federal agency, Thorn, Theoretical Heuristic Order and Research Network, was collaborating with Wayne Enterprises to produce cognitive enhancing chemicals used to treat schizophrenic and Alzheimer's patients. But in fact, Thorn tried to produce a new biological weapon, a poisonous serum.
Botanical weapon.
Yeah, a poisonous serum, Remorse, intended to impair the enemy's psyche and turn them against themselves. Dr. Andrea Arliss, the agency's scientist, cultured a new species of hallucinogenic mold to produce the serum. The project was eventually abandoned, but the agency didn't get rid of the mold samples properly, and it started to grow somewhere around their lab in the Crest Hill Lighthouse. Okay, so we would have gained more information if we found the lighthouse a lot sooner. Andrea's trainee, Finn Harris, remained in Gotham City. Finn joined the Norns and started working on nostalgia using the mold cultured by Dr. Arliss and the results of her research on the Remorse serum. Marcus Redding, Thorn's boss, became obsessed with testing the abilities of various supervillains. Thorn spent the following years traveling the world and researching supervillain powers. They also hired Jay Tang, a military engineer specializing in various long-range weapons. In the aftermath of the events of Episode 2, Liam Briggs ends up in Arkham after being brainwashed by the Norns. He's truly convinced that he is John Longerquist. Right, because he was going to be the sacrifice.
Yeah.
The Crest Hill Lighthouse lab is shut down, and all the samples of the mold are transported to the GCPD's lab. All the samples of the mold are transported to the lab. we didn't get that at all, and we were at the lab. That's a little unfortunate that we didn't.
To what?
I was just trying to figure out your fan. Something weird has happened. See that bottom piece broke off. And I was trying to figure
Well, and also it's I can't pull it. It's
Yeah.
jammed.
Ooh.
But I'm
Yeah, that's what I was
I'm
trying to
having a
figure
handyman come deal with that and some other issues.
Oh, she just asked me to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, deal with it.
If you would ask me, I could. We're in the middle of something.
He's ordering you to do it. He's not asking. He's
No,
ordering.
I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. I do have a handyman coming, so.
Yeah. So I'm.
But I don't have supreme confidence that he's going to be able to handle all the ceiling fan stuff. So if you think you can handle ceiling fan stuff, I will be asking you.
Okay.
So.
So Jimmy Berenstein, the son of Harold Berenstein, doesn't want to go to Blackgate. Desperate, he contacts Thorne and tells them that Finn Harris used Thorne's confidential research results to produce nostalgia. Thorne arrives in Gotham City. They decide to resume their project, but a bit differently this time. They get young Berenstein out of prison and he starts working for them. Berenstein and Andrea Arliss break into the GCPD's lab in the night to retrieve the samples. They encounter several forensic scientists, technicians, and Jimmy kills them. Thorne wants Jimmy Berenstein to give the samples to both the Scarecrow and Poison Ivy as an experiment. Jimmy, who's not very bright, doesn't handle the samples properly. The mold expands and destroys the Scarecrow's lab. Jimmy manages to deliver the samples to Poison Ivy safely, though. Poison Ivy wreaks chaos. It turns out that Thorne's mold and Ivy's skills make it a lethal mixture. Her first target is a sickle ink textile factory in the Narrows that has been poisoning Gotham City River for years. The chemical plant is directly connected to the sewage system, and the mold quickly spreads throughout the entire city. Josephine Goodwin is devastated by her son's condition, and she's slowly losing sanity too. She thinks that Gotham City is beyond saving. She joins Poison Ivy to help her destroy the city, but she also hopes that Ivy could use her mind control skills to cure Leo. Poison Ivy traps the Penguin in his iceberg lounge, as she's convinced he had invested in the factory. She surrounds the iceberg lounge with a mold dome, trapping the Penguin inside. Thorne collects the samples of the mold throughout the city and observes the mayhem, occasionally testing the new device created by their engineer, Jay Tang.
Yeah, Don, seriously, I
No, I know. I'm fixing it.
okay. No, I was just like, I didn't mean for you to think that I was actually.
I'm literally solving the problem. It just was.
Okay.
It created a second problem first.
Do you need a hand?
No, keep going. I got a hand.
They occasionally test the new device created by their engineer, Jay Tang, the only thing that can stop the mold from spreading. They also pursue Finn Harris, who's desperately seeking protection. And then it shows that. What about our personal roles? Okay, and then if I click on Catwoman. Did you manage to get into the Iceberg Lounge to steal your loot? How was it possible? By using Poison Ivy's help? Yep, that is correct. There are 86% of playgroups selected the correct answer to this question. Harvey Bullock. Who killed the forensic science technicians? Andrea Arliss and Jimmy Berenstein. Your answer is correct. 73% of groups selected the correct answer. Vicky Vale, correct. One of them was yeah. So we got 7 out of 8 total points. So I think the only ding was that we were in yellow instead of green.
Yep.
So yeah, we solved it.
We got all questions correct.
Yeah, with a few blind spots. Like
Yeah.
I do like their motivations more. That makes sense with why Jimmy was so invested, because I didn't know why they were like murderous intention, like to get what they needed, and the fact that there was mold at the lighthouse. I like that. That's more of a tie-in that we didn't see.
Right.
That's literally where the mold was.
Right.
And ties into nostalgia, obviously, that way.
Right. And then so Goodwin gets involved in redirecting Ivy after she's been infected.
Right.
So a thing I disagree with is yours. Ivy tricked by Thorne to target certain places. All Thorne did was introduce the mold contaminant to her, they did not set Ivy on specific targets around the city.
Right.
Well,
Like they
But
didn't.
they-
They did not set Ivy to go attack Sickle or set Ivy to go attack the Penguin. They just basically infected Ivy.
They gave
and
her
then,
the power, and
They
she
gave
kinda,
her the
and she
power.
kind of did it herself.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's not the way. That's not the way.
I
That,
do need help now.
That's not the way the answer to your question was phrased.
Yeah, because it was
more tricked. Yeah, I think a better phrasing might have been used.
Right, but it was like they were tricked by Thorn, and that's fine. Or she was tricked by Thorn, but the way the full answer that you were given was basically implied that she was tricked to attack specific locations of their choice, and that's where I disagree with, because they weren't choosing the location she would attack. They were just choosing basically the method of her
go
attack.
crazy.
Yeah. That she's going to attack places anyway, and let's see what happens when she does.
Do what you do, I think is what
Exactly.
yeah.
You know.
I figured out what happened.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I have to rest my arms. So, here's what it is. This part of that hangs right about there.
Oh,
When this is on there, and when he pulled down on that, this thing sprung and went back up in there,
yeah.
and it somehow fit through,
Oh, there and
There.
Then, and then you can't pull it through.
and then you couldn't pull it through. So this was stuck in the.
Got it.
So, I think but I think it's done. Minus putting, but let me finish tightening it up, and I'll test that theory.
Nice.
But yeah, it was not going to get you anything.
Well, thank you. Because yeah, I was like, I can't adjust that. I couldn't adjust that fan myself. Earlier or yesterday or whatever, and I was like, add that to the list of the handyman, because I've already asked him to come out on Saturday for other things.
So now, this goes here, and this tiny one has to feed into that little bit.
And then you need the. Isn't there a knob
Not
somewhere?
yet, I have it on here.
Oh, okay. Well, good case. We got all the questions correct.
Yeah, we did. That was better than our ending. Like, I don't remember the details because it's been a while, but I remember enjoying nostalgia, especially because it was kind of cool with the way that they had all their, just the way the hallucinogen was working. But I remember that we didn't make the right choice and was a little upset about that.
Nice and big, that one.
Right.
I just gotta get it threaded.
Well, see, I can't even reach that, Don.
I hear you. It's just a matter of I can't see
Oh, here.
any, well, no, it's not gonna help.
You don't need flashlights? Alright.
It just is literally, I'm trying to get that tiny ball to go into that little hole.
Yeah.
And you also have to thread the other one first.
Well, actually, I don't think you do.
Oh, yeah, you can,
Thread this one, then just turn it around and dump that one in.
maybe I can do it this way. Yeah, you're right. Maybe just dump that in there. Alright. So you put this on there, and then this is the same. Okay. Are they building around your house?
No, that's not a song.
Okay, so now,
So when we pull on the little chain, it's when we pull.
not yet,
Oh,
you need this to keep it from disappearing back up inside of it. Alright, now pull on that chain.
oh, look, I can do that. Nice. And then I need to buy another one of those little clippy things so I can put this
Back
on the end. Yeah.
this. Here's the trick to that. What you did exactly is the trick, is don't just spring it. Pull down and let it, because the reason I figured that out, this will be medium, you want it below or medium?
Medium's fine.
What I found out is when I had that off, I pulled it and it went flying way
Yeah.
up there. So theoretically with the weight on it,
Yeah.
now I could put this right here for you, but then it's awful tall.
No, I mean, it's not too tall. Do you think you can?
Yeah, I could, like, this should just come out. It's not super easy, but it's also not hard.
Oh, okay.
See, this comes out like so. Well, man, still picking up.
No, I'll just get another little clicky thing.
Yeah, it'd be better just to do that. Or, what if we swap it then? Like, put your light there. You don't use this light, do you?
No, not really.
Like, watch this. Take that off here a little bit. Because you know which one's the light is the one coming out of the center.
Yeah.
There's your light.
Okay. There you go.
And we'll put this one on there. And that's a free fix.
Yeah, nice.
And you get that for. So yeah, so now you just have, which makes more sense for the way you use your house, that
Yeah.
you want to have easier access to the fan.
Yeah. Thank you, Don. No, you're a real man.
I mean, I'm a good handyman. For a minute, I was going to do that as like a side hustle.
So the not right now today, but if my handyman cannot deal with my upstairs ceiling fan,
What's wrong with your upstairs?
I'll show you. Just so you know, not because I'm asking you to deal with it right now, but because I'm gonna ask. I'm having a handyman come deal with it.
You gotta pay your handyman.
Bunch of stuff.
Like that's the thing. Is like,
But okay. So right now, it's kind of fine in this, right?
yeah,
But this speed is useless because this thing's an oven.
yeah.
So I want this to be at